some of this old videos that I got in there. I realized I was trying to keep like most of this shit in here because just in case they take down my channel, then I can go back and pull some of these episodes and upload them. But yes, I see. I started the live. You guys caught a little bit of our back conversation, and you'll probably catch a little bit more. We had to delay just a little bit, and we'll delay a little bit longer until the young phenom, Mr. Jalen Lawson, hops in the building. But as you guys can see, got two very special guests and colleagues of mine. If I could, I would drag them on every stream. But as you can see, in the middle, we have ShadowBanned Refugee, and we have Jack Sith. So glad to have you guys here. How are we doing?
I'm excellent. I'm loving my black site, man. I love it here.
I can't top that.
Are you there with what's his name, Reddington from the Blacklist?
Oh, dude, I used to watch the fuck out of that show. My chick still watches the fuck out of that show.
See, I'm actually behind the curtain.
I keep telling myself I need to go back and see what they don't realize is Jack is actually an android. That's why he doesn't show his face.
Pretty much.
And so we're waiting until we get the technology correct. You know, it might be, or if you're old enough, this kind of dates me a little bit, but I don't know who remembers the movie Critters.
Critters.
Yes.
Critters.
Was that horror flick from the 80s?
Yes.
Is it the one with the shot?
I think I just watched that recently, actually.
It had so many big stars in it, and it is it blows my mind how many big stars have been in the whole. I guess I can take that off, but how many big stars have been in like the whole Critters like thing? So for those who don't know about Critters, I want to say Critters was in what 87, I think, and these little balls of fur that they call Christ. They were aliens, and they hijacked the ship after they broke out of an alien prison, and they come to Earth, and then they send these like bounty hunters to go after them. And the alien bounty hunters, they don't have faces at first, so what they do is they'll look at the planet that they're going to and kind of figure out the face of whoever they want to be. And so they had this like rock star. And so the guy, one of them takes the face of a rock star, and another one throughout the
I gotta see this.
Keeps like creating. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Is it so bad it's good? Is it like one of those films?
I almost didn't know what to classify it as because it's not. It's like I'm like, is this really considered humor? Is this really supposed to be? I mean, is this humor or is this like comedy or what? It reminds me of the Leprechaun. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yes,
dude. Me and Tina are
all
about that old school horror, bro. Like that is and old school science
Poltergeist.
fiction.
And I see Tina in the building. Hello, Tina.
Yo,
Tony, you made it back okay.
Tony.
I know Tony's like, I gotta go to the restroom. I hope I'll be right back. Don't worry. You'll have some time before we get into everything. Who else we missing in there? Snork, Y2K.
Snork.
And let's see, am I missing anybody? And for anybody else who's coming in right now, so glad to have you guys all in here. Says, Polly is so handsome on our big TV. Oh, yes, he is so handsome. That big bald head.
That beard. Don't get me started.
I'm jealous mine's not to that point yet, but it'll be there at some point in time.
Just maintenance and care and patience and patience. And more fucking.
It's the Marcus bird. That's a good one, Atris.
What's up, Atris?
What's up, Atris?
I figure right now is the perfect time since we're waiting on Jalen. Anybody got any questions to ask me about it? Just anything random, just fire away right now. That way, that also proves that it's not scripted. Because how would I know what you guys are going to ask me?
Ooh,
because you're part of MK Ultra.
Actually, the real truth is like. Jean Grey is actually my mother, and so that
she bailed you out one time.
I'm reading your minds. That's what's going on. And there he is. We got Jalen in the building. Hey, how we doing, Jay?
What's going on, Shadow? What's going on, Jack? What's going on, Marcus? My bad, guys. I was finishing up some work for college.
Oh, that's nothing wrong
All
with
good,
that.
man.
I posed a question. I said, anybody who has any questions for me until Jay gets in, go on ahead and fire away. So you always have a question. So
I see you got it to stream the topic of the episode.
yes, that way it'll help me remember also. So technically, I guess I do have a teleprompter.
Trip is going to be up all on you about that.
I don't want to interrupt. Where'd you guys leave off? Excuse me.
Oh no, I was telling them about some old school movies, and that's part of what we do on this show, Talk of the Ages, because I don't know if Shadow and Jack have gotten a chance to check us out yet. We're only at about what was it, our 5th or 6th episode, Jalen?
Yeah, just about. I believe so.
Yeah. Well, what we do on here is we talk about all kind of different pop culture, some politics stuff, a little bit of everything because everything's starting to get intertwined at this point. But we try to stay away from direct political stuff like getting into votes and all that stuff, and deal with kind of the political effects of stuff on pop culture. And so he talks about it from his perspective, I don't even know what generation you classify as. Was that Z?
Yeah, Gen Z.
Gen Z. I forget these things.
We're elder millennials. Is that the term that we're called?
I guess I've been demoted to elder millennial. I used to be Gen X.
I thought doesn't millennial start at like 81 or 82? 81?
Well, I put it this way. When I was in high school, it started at like 85, 86. Probably about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it switched to 82 or 81. And
yeah, you're right.
I was born in February of 81. So I'm kind of in the cusp.
Yeah, I'm right around that area, man.
I'm right smack dab in the middle. I'm a 90 kid. Right in 1990.
I'm an early 90s baby, but I grew up with a 90s brother, so,
Yeah, I remember the internet when it was just text on screens and Gopher, and then remember IRC.
Dial-up. Does anyone remember
dial-up? Oh my God, dial-up everything, dude.
My first computer was dial-up. Yeah, all of them noise shit, man.
You guys were much older. We used to use the Nintendo DS and get group chats with like the cousins or your friends, and then you guys would just text or draw pictures.
Master Fancy.
Yeah.
But you see, it wasn't anything like it was now. You guys had to be all in the same room to even get them to even join. It wasn't like you could be at your house, not like it was a few years later.
Yeah.
Archer said, in the metaverse, it will be a version number, not a generation.
Dude,
yeah, it's just like No, I do not remember.
Yeah. In fact, when I first joined the Navy, I had the Nextel pagers that could talk. So, like, if they called you right at the right time, you could pick up the pager and push this little white button on it and respond to them in real time.
Whoa. The original text message, huh?
Oh, yeah. Voice to text, in fact. In fact,
that would have been extra fancy back then, dude.
Well, I was active in the military, so they shelled out big bucks for that kind of stuff.
Nextel, bro. You're gonna start talking about Nextel, Alltel, fucking Voice Stream. Do you remember Voice Stream?
Mm-hmm.
Before T-Mobile, son of a gun.
I remember we used to listen to ham radio. We couldn't transmit in my house, but we'd listen to ham radio, shortwave, longwave. Marine radio for some reason was interesting, just because areas I lived would be around different like major waterways, so I would hear like those. We had a friend that had a satellite dish, which was really rare, but because we're out in the country, it had a direct stream up to like you had very good exposure to all different satellites. We could catch feeds and catch the people on those feeds cursing, like because they weren't technically live. So back then, like they would say all kinds of shit. Like I've heard Dan Rathers like say some crazy ass shit, but I can never prove it because we didn't like. You could record it with a VCR, but like no one would think to
No
do
one
it.
was recording back then. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you have to have the VCR ready though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yo, I remember being able to record movies on VCR, and I would get 3 fucking movies to a tape, yo.
Yeah, I miss those days.
You guys want to hear something crazy?
What up?
I
Sorry,
took the words out of my mouth.
Damn, I missed the whole page. You know what's funny? Whenever I see it, I remember like seeing my mom use a payphone or my dad or my grandparents. The last time I ever seen somebody use a payphone was in 2012. But
Yeah.
the crazy thing is, so
I
you
guess the
guys
same for
mentioned
me.
VCRs. Actually, I used to use the VCR because this is 08, 09, maybe like 2010. So my brother still had all his old tapes, all the old movies like Lion King, Toy Story, Dragon Ball Z. When I got into it, I watched them all on the tape
Nice.
before I even got them on DVD. But speaking of tapes, my birth was actually taped. Sorry, Pops. But my dad ended up taping my birth. He ended up taping the Giants game over my birth.
I
I'm sure
got to
my dad did
rag
the
him
same
about
shit,
that.
dude.
Oh, I got to get him on that one. Oh,
You know, my mom
oh
said,
yeah,
my
Chris,
mom,
Chris, you're gonna hear it. Oh yeah. By the way, Shadow and Jack, if you guys didn't know, Jalen is Chris's son.
Yeah, I remember it was my first stream with y'all.
Yeah, I
Jalen
jumped
was
on
actually
there.
on.
Awesome.
Oh, that's right. You were on that stream when we were talking 9/11.
Yeah.
And
9/11 9/11 was definitely not a fucking conspiracy, by the way. Censor gun.
exclamation
course
point!
not.
Exclamation point!
Everything was on the up and up. There's no such thing as nanothermite. Buildings don't get wrapped in things that make them look like a controlled demolition
Not
ever.
even that. You crash a plane. How does it crumble down and not lean over?
Because it's
Exactly.
science. Trust the science. The experts said so, bro.
Oh yeah, Tina. She was super mad. You know, you guys were speaking about the pages and different things like that and satellites. I remember going to the radios, like Radio Shack, and my dad used to buy me the Kanye CDs, the Jay-Z CDs, Nas CDs. They were all the edited versions. But I remember having a CD player having like 10 CDs, and even though I was young, I had Bone Thugs Crossroad recorded 18 times on the cassette.
I had.
Yeah,
oh my god,
'cause you
I've got
couldn't
artists like
rewind
that.
it, that's
Boom,
why.
boom, 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 boom.
Did you have it recorded because you couldn't rewind it?
No, you just didn't want to have to fucking rewind the tape, bro.
That's what I'm saying, because the tape would mess up.
Yeah,
and doing
bro.
mixtapes for people, like off the radio, like you would just keep a tape popped in and just have it ready and run over. Like you used to have to run over to get that song. Oh man.
Yeah. And then the shitty part is you'd always have some DJ who would start talking like way early before the song's about to cut off and fuck it up.
Yep.
This is
Back in the
Smooth
day.
Revelations with Jesse.
And you'd be
Kid.
like, shut the fuck up. I called and fucking requested this shit, and you fucked up the goddamn tape, you son of a bitch. Yep.
DJ Clue, I mean, he would let them rap, but you would still hear him. DJ Clue, dude. You start hearing them in the beginnings. I remember when my dad used to play all them, and I used to be like, who is this guy screaming?
I can handle that, but when we're talking about Jalen, it's like your song get ready to go off and it'd be like, "Hi, I'm DJ Clue on the ones and twos, and coming in next, we're gonna have Brandy, and the song is still playing in the background.
You're like,
it's talking.
You're at the top of the hour.
It's
Crash Southbound on I-25.
Yeah.
Do you guys listen to reggae music?
Of course.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So you hear the Jamaican DJs will talk over the whole song. I remember we went to a party. The music that he actually played a dope song. Everybody was dancing, but every 5 seconds, shake your boom, 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 boom. And it's just like, bro, the whole song.
That like dance hall style and like the timing. Like I love the drums, like the patterns. Like when I used to sample, I would always find like reggae music and slow it down a little bit and speed it up because I always found the most interesting drum patterns, and especially the vocals.
Wait, what'd you make beats on?
Yeah, so I was doing. I had friends that used Logic, but I was using mostly Ableton. If you've heard of it, I was using. So I was actually an early tester of that back when it was in version like 1 or 2. And I've been using that since about version 3. I used to do that full time, but then I got sucked up in like a job and all that. But yeah, dude, I really loved using that.
I
that was
make
one of my
beats on
favorite
Logic, and I use the
things.
MPK,
Oh, nice.
the MPK Mini.
I was always a
nice,
fucking
man.
fan of Acid Tools myself. Acid Tools was the shit.
Dude, I've used Fruity Loops. I've used I didn't use Fruity Loops for long, but I had a friend who could he was actually really good on Fruity Loops. Like he could do some he was doing mostly hip hop, and he actually taught me some shit using Fruity Loops. Again, I think it's really comes down to preference.
Have you ever used FL Studio?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep. And in fact, I use a lot of native instruments.
Yeah, and then a lot of big producers in the game use FL Studio, and then what they do is they'll plug up like Kanye. He still uses the MPC 2000 XL from like 01, or I think it dropped 2000, and then he uses the Esonic ASR, which came out like 02, 03. So he still uses those. He just uses he uses the DAW from the MacBook and just uses those as a plugin. But then you can still import new sounds from different plugins and then just program it to the beat.
Yeah, and that's the power of what are they called, VSTs, and using things like that, like using like different instruments, and because you can use different DAWs and you can plug them in. For anyone that doesn't know what a DAW is, it's a digital audio workstation.
Workshop. Oh yeah.
Yeah, or workshop.
I've seen it both ways.
You know, but but even if you use the factory sounds, if you're just trying to play around and make something simple, if you tweak a little bit,
I know what that is. Do you guys know what that is?
But
I have a K-oscillator. I have the original.
I want to MPC, honestly, and I want to like. Do you watch Mike Dean? Do you watch Mike Dean?
Not who's Mike D?
The producer. You ever heard of Travis Scott?
Sounds familiar.
You ever heard of the album Astroworld?
Yeah.
He produced like 90%.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he does a lot of Kanye's albums. Do you know Devil in a Red Dress?
It sounds really familiar.
The Devil in a New Dress with Kanye. Yeah. You know how there's a guitar solo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays the electric guitar and plugged it into the computer.
Oh man, dude, that's what I just started messing around with because I realized that I'm trying to play multiple parts of the song, and I
ban that motherfucker. Ban that motherfucker in chat right now.
What is the comment? Pin it.
Yeah, he can go. We don't need anybody spamming.
Oh. But back to what we were saying, he does a lot of he'll get some VSTs, some plugins for the synth chords and play it on the piano. So a lot of those synth sounds, like you know the song Jail by Kanye? That doom doom, he did that part.
So if you want to know a secret, if you reverse a piano sound, that's how you get that harmonic like that.
You ever heard drill beats, like UK drill?
Yeah.
They'll play piano chords or bite it off of like a sampling page or get it in a pack and they'll reverse it and then they chop it up so then it gets that.
That's what I do.
Like, yep. Okay, so we was talking about the same exact thing. I just actually watched the video on that, how to do it. And I tried it. It actually came out pretty dope.
It came to me one night. I was in the studio and I was bored and I was like, I'm not enjoying this. So I was like, I'm just going to go old school and hook up like one of my like pads, which has these different like, they're touch sensitive pads, right? Like if I was on camera, I'd show you guys, but
I know what you're talking about, like the MPC pads.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was taking that and I was like, I used to have funnest when I was just playing the beat with my fingers, and I was like, why don't I just do that and record it? And then I was like, wait a minute, why don't I just start chopping up samples that I like and loops that I like and vocals that I like and just messing with them and using like different like effect stacks and VSTs and processing them. Oh my God.
Honestly, the best is to sample and then just give it what it needs instead of trying to force something new, because the sample will carry out a lot of the song. So you can just, whatever parts of the song that
100%.
get you up, bring you low, whatever part, you just add whatever fits in. So like even the beats, because if you hear on a lot of sample beats, the drum pattern are so simple. It's hitting at the right part of the notes, and then it gives the rapper so much space or the artist space to do what they have to do. It's kind. It's
100%
literally
spot
like
on.
late. After doing it on there, I realized it's all layered.
All
Yeah,
right,
it's
gentlemen.
layered.
I'll get
And,
y'all together. I'll get
oh,
y'all
yeah.
together on this another time. Y'all are really, yeah. I
There's
don't know
some tricks
what
that
the
I wish
hell y'all
people
are
would have
talking
showed
about.
me. And all I'm gonna say is I'm gonna teach you side channel compression if you haven't learned it yet. There's that was the biggest aha moment for me when you hear vocals get out of the way of the beat. That's called side channel compression chaining.
Do you have Twitter? Do you have Twitter?
Not yet, but I may or may not get a new Twitter. I'm not sure yet. I think
What can we get on and we could talk about this?
It's on Discord.
Yep.
Okay. Marcus, can you send me his Discord?
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll put. Yeah, I'll send you the Discord link.
Private chat.
But
so Marcus, can I take the lead?
oh, you want to announce the show? Get it started.
Yeah.
All right, going ahead.
Well, after you know how we start on Talk of the Ages. You know, we get a little off topic, but you know, we find a way to get back in. It's just all good, funny games. But I'm your co-host, Jalen. We got our host, Marcus Young Morpheus Cage, also known as Marcus Rage. We also have some special guests I'd like to announce. ShadowBanned Refugee, Jackass. How you guys doing today?
Doing great, man.
Excellent. Thank you for having
Good.
us on.
Glad to have you guys here, ready to talk our BS. Well, guys, this is Talk of the Ages, and since we did start off with music, I would actually like to start with one of the pictures Marcus put in the thumbnail. It was
Oh, wait a minute. You gotta announce them the rest of the what our topics are for the show.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so what we have for you guys today, we have drug use in hip hop and rap mainly. We're talking about the real estate market in the metaverse, picking up on more metaverse topics that we've been going on, and also the recruitment of military with young men as far as them visiting high schools and different things of that nature, how they market themselves. Thank you, Tina. I really appreciate it. And also,
he's only 19.
And also
doing amazing, man.
The degradation of the music industry, not even just rap or hip hop as a whole. Basically, talk about the over sexualization, the saturation, the over release of the same music, how people are tuning out, the sham of awards, Grammys. We're going to dive into it all. But welcome to Talk of the Ages. So,
welcome.
Killer intro.
It's great to be here, you guys.
So glad to have you. Sorry, go ahead, Jen.
Oh, yeah. So since we started off with music, I'd like to start off with Marcus put a picture of lean and Percocets in the thumbnail. So I'd like to ask our guests, what have you noticed or maybe any ideas you have on the the message of just drug use in music as a whole, not even just
like
rap.
Nina Minaj when she did like Pills and Potions.
Okay, what were you saying, Jack?
So like how they're like hyper I don't want to say glamorizing, but they kind of are drug use.
They are glamorizing.
Like Pills and Potions by like Nicki Minaj really turned me off because she did that shit. But again, like there's some other weird shit with her that I found out recently too that is just like I gotta question everything. But again, like she had a dope producer, so I was listening to her shit for a little bit. And she can throw down sometimes. Yeah.
You know, but I would also like to say this isn't anything relative to like 2010 to 2021. They've been referencing drug use in music in the 60s,
Willie
70s.
Nelson.
Yeah. And over sexualizing in the music industry.
Johnny Cash.
Oh, we're gonna
Men in Black. I mean,
he's got a line about
NWA did a song called Dope Man, right? So like I mean it's nothing new.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to say it's not that it's new, because we can go all the way back to Mr. Ice Cream Man, and then we can go back to even like Ozzy with like a lot of the drug usage and stuff, especially because in the rock industry, it's kind of always been a thing. It's always been part of the culture. Yeah, part of a badge of honor. And
Pusher Man.
I guess what we want to talk about is like the overall degradation, which we're starting to see across the board. Before it was kind of more accepted in hardcore rock, and now I feel like it's kind of it was always kind of in hip hop and R&B to a degree, and I just feel like it's kind of been on steroids in a sense, and now you're seeing it more in pop. You're starting to see it in reggaeton, which I listen to a lot. You're seeing it more in reggae. You're starting to see it across the board and
And you're seeing
everything.
it more.
Do you guys remember
Levels we've
Ariana
never seen
Grande?
before. Yeah.
Okay.
Here, let me read this real quick.
Gotcha.
Tina says, as an addict, I always listen to Alex and Shane to cope. I dislike the glamorization of it these days. Exactly.
I have to agree because some people really have issues with their substance abuse, and you're just making it glamorized like this is just something I do for fun. When some people really do have problems and are trying to get some help, not everybody's just a strung out addict just trying to get their next fix. Some people are actually trying to like fight that. It's a mental battle. But
Jalen is
talking to two
100%
recovering addicts,
right
by
on
the
the
way.
head. Yeah, like so we're both in recovery, and you nailed it. Like that's exactly what it is.
because
Like
not
that's so well
everybody-
said.
Think about it. Like we all have little addictions. We all form habits, whether they are harmful or not. We all have a habit. I like to drink a lot of water. It's become like addicting. If I don't have at least four bottles of water, I don't really feel the same. You know, we all
That's a good addiction, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fucking killer addiction.
But I mean, I also have an addiction to like sometimes sleeping past my alarm, which isn't always great. So I gotta rush. You know, we all have some habits. Some people wait, they go to sleep without doing the dishes, or they'll shower the next day. What's going on, Misha?
And that's the thing is you can have what's called a dry drunk, and that's essentially someone who's not drinking anymore, but they're still vicious and evil. Like, sorry, not evil. I don't like to call a person evil. They're vicious and they're ruthless because they think that they have this moral superior. Like I've known dry drunks, like in meetings, I would have to call them out and be like, look, dude, we don't care how many years you got. You're making people feel like shit. You got to leave. Like you're fucking with other people's recovery now. Like that kind of thing. But the music industry is that on steroids because really think about it. Look at hip hop back through like the 90s or like even like 88 and on, right? 88 on until 90s, and then like NWO, and then just messages that were getting out. Eazy-E was like one of the first people I started listening to, and it was amazing to me because they wouldn't be able to write. You think Ice Cube could write a song like "Cop Killer" today?
I don't know. Not being as mainstream, being as mainstream as he is or as he was then. If he was more kind of undercover, maybe yeah. But if you're like I say, for instance, Kanye West could not get away with that song now.
No.
Well, I think what has kind of pushed it into overload, I guess, in the fucking purview of society now is that, rich white kids are fucking getting fucked up on dope and dying now, right? But it was never a fucking big deal when it was the outcast metalheads. It was never a fucking big deal when it was the inner city fucking minorities. It was never a fucking big deal, and nobody gave a shit. They just said, oh, those are the fucking throwaway of society anyway. Those are the dregs, and they fucking deserve to fucking die, right? Yeah. But now it's fucking hit rich white kids with Xanax and fucking and fentanyl and all that other shit that's fucking like, this is society reaping what it's sown for so fucking long, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, good point, but I kind of want to add a little bit of a different where I noticed it a little bit different. It was nobody cared about it at all when it was in the rock community because it was looked at as, and forgive the term, I'm not calling anybody this, but the so-called white trash. They didn't care if they got all drugged up, and they didn't care if some of them possibly committed suicide or any of those things like that. They didn't care about those groups of people, and they didn't care in the Black and Latino communities when we were shooting each other up and selling drugs to each other.
Yeah,
I feel like the difference which happened in hip hop.
Oh, they cared. They loved it. They fucking loved it.
I was going to go into that part too, but the difference is they started glorifying the using of drugs. That's where I noticed the big difference in hip hop,
and that's where I draw the line as an artist in particular.
Can I add one more thing? So I'm sure you guys all have seen hip hop from 80s on. So you also noticed that the popularity in the white community for rap music grew over time. And there's even black artists that cater to that certain community. Travis Scott, majority of his fans are white than they are black. Even Kanye, as time went on, he started catering more to his white fan base. So I'd also say maybe
Well, Jay, I would kind of interrupt you there because I don't feel like it's more catering to the white fan base. When, if you think about it, most hip hop artists in general, as they rise up to a certain level, at a certain point, most of their fan base becomes white anyway. Like NWA, a lot of their fan base when they got to their height were white kids. That's the
around the
reason
movie
why.
lead up.
You're also
too.
adding to my point, Marcus, because where I was going to tie that into is I went to school with middle class white kids, the rich white kids, and they loved their drugs. Those were the kids that in middle school were like, oh, you want to try a Xan? They didn't have the regular disposable nicotines. They had the gauze and all that crazy stuff because they had the money to buy it and were getting like $500 allowances. And they were drinking at 14.
When I found out what allowances were, that fucked me up,
to the rich white kids.
I'm not gonna lie.
But what's crazy to me is I was thinking, well, if they're over glamorizing it, they know a lot of their fans are white and they love their drugs. Maybe they're just glamorizing it because they know it's going to sell records in that specific fan base. You don't think so? You don't agree?
No.
I think it's more to water down it from any substance. Take it away from anything that could have challenged the system.
Okay, I understand that.
I'm going to be very careful how I say this.
Okay, got you.
Because I know that we're not on a Rockfin or Rumble type platform where I can get away with saying exactly what I think, but I'm hoping that most people can follow where I'm tracking and, pick up what I'm laying down. There were certain people who were over a lot of these industries, which were perfectly fine with only incentivizing people to do certain types of music.
Oh, we know what you're talking about, Marcus.
And there was a certain group of people who have had a stranglehold, especially over hip hop and rap music. And you have people like Talib Kweli, who would try to do more positive type songs. You had Common. You had Mos Def. You had a lot of people out there who were trying to do more positive music. Even Nas, when he would do more of his positive stuff, that stuff gets shut down and pushed to the ground. But if it's a song about I'm about to roll up and I'm gonna shoot your grandma and all that, those songs
or in the first place of a gun, right? If it takes in the first place of a gun with Nas, I know the verses, but I can't. Yep.
He made you bug.
I give you power.
How do you like me now? It goes. Blow.
How do you like me now? I go blow. Yep. That one.
Making every ghetto foul. It might have took your first child.
Well, don't be careful. Yeah. Don't sing too much of the song. Copyright like
song.
That. Copywritten for fucking.
Oh no.
Some of them are that petty. They will go after you.
The alleged thing that we were humming that was our own original inspiration off of a supposed song allegedly. That track, it's interesting because you guys are right. I had like different groups of friends. I would get their take on it, and I would notice that one group was like the exact kind of take that you would expect. It was a very Karen-ish type, like, "Ooh, this is like gross," and I was like, "Do you understand what this is?" And they're like, "No," and then I had to explain it to them, and then they'd be like, "Why would someone write something a song like that?" And I'm like, "Oh my god." Then another group was like, "Explain to me the other side of it," where it's like there's also a side of like trying to say that that's all there is. You know what I'm saying? That there is no hope in certain ways. Like I got so many different readings from that track alone. It's just like one of those tracks that comes out.
Yeah, and something that actually fucking Tina just put in chat, I will totally agree with, is that fucking.
Oh my god, I love Immortal Technique.
Has fucking been on the fucking scene with that shit.
Is my, I got Revolution 1 and 2.
We went and saw him when fucking Tina was pregnant with our son, and our son was jumping the entire fucking time. It was fucking.
I guess when we're all three going to finally meet is when we go to a Technique show.
Yeah. Gotta love fucking Felipe Coronel.
Oh my god, he's one of my favorites.
Tina's your wife, man?
Yeah, Tina's my my wife.
Tina. I didn't know you were part of the family.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's wifey right there.
Oh, so let me ask you guys this: do you guys feel for your generation, artists felt like they had to say something more, or they had to challenge something?
No,
not at all.
Not at all. Yo, fucking Alice in Chains did a song called Junkhead, where the fucking the chorus is, "What's my drug of choice? Well, what do you got?" Like, come on. Like, I mean, it was never
only Alice in Chains song I can remember.
Wrote a song called Cocaine. I'm just saying.
That really had a message I can remember would probably be Rooster.
Yeah.
You gotta remember that one. Rooster, Jalen, since you probably are not familiar with it, Rooster is a song basically talking about a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
And it's talking about him going through experiencing the shit and then afterwards.
Wait, so have you guys heard
Jerry
the message?
Cantrell's dad was fucked up from the war, like really, really bad. And so that's what the song is about. Is Jerry Cantrell's dad's fucking call sign was Rooster.
So wait, is he a singer?
Jerry Cantrell is a singer, guitar player in Alice in Chains.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so have you guys heard the message by Grandmaster Flash in the Furious 5?
Yeah.
The Don't Push Me.
Because
yeah. So
the rest.
Even back then, when it was in its earlier stages, they weren't even just talking. There was a few people out there like have you heard the songs by Styles P on Black?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So basically, he's just speaking. It's like a Black Pride song. Just I drink, I smoke, I'm black. Like, but it's a positive song. It's not just I just love the ghetto. It's a really positive song. And out of all the popular hit songs he's been on, that song never saw the light of day on a radio station.
Never.
And it makes sense because it's positive. Like they can't have like a positive like up. Like if you start lifting people up and making them realize that they can like actually seek inward change and like actually change the world and realize and step into their own power, then the zombie effect's gone and people start actually helping each other.
That's why
that's actually one of the weirdest things about like the metal and fucking rock industry in and of itself is that it's flipped, right? Because like metal and rock is now fucking like has kind of become like recovery music for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a band Gojira out there that they have a song that's saying now it's time to open your eyes to the genocide, and when you change yourself, you change the world, right? Like there's like it's almost like fucking rock and metal have by default become recovery
for
music
me,
for most people.
Hip hop and underground hip hop in particular, like Atmosphere, hearing Slug talk about like there's a song he goes, "Ain't nothing." I'm not gonna sing it, but he's talking about the paint on the color of the walls. Like when you're depressed, trying to paint walls, dude, is a challenge. And he's talking about it, and he's like about like the alcohol is in the blood that remains still. I'm not gonna sing the rest, but it's a great track. You got that one, and
is it that Kendrick Lamar with swimming pools or some shit? That track about fucking drinking.
His Rigor Mortis track is one of my favorite, just because he bounces around the beat.
Yeah,
that's hard as fuck.
You know what's funny? Have you guys heard the song Waukesha by Moneybagg Yo?
No.
Well, no. You guys remember Lil Wayne was notorious for just being a huge lean drinker.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I've never been a fan. Honestly, I've never been a fan of the dude.
If you weren't a fan, if you just saw him, he always had the styrofoam cup, and he samples a snippet of when they're asking him about his lean addiction, and he's saying, "Whatever's in my cup is in your cup. Don't worry about what's in my cup. Drink it." And so it comes in. I'm sitting here looking at Keisha like, "Do you love me? Do you love me not?" It has a sound effects from like ice in a cup. Damn, you hit the spot. And he's like rapping about lean as if it was a woman. And all the girls, they play that song in the club all the time. And all the girls on TikTok, all the girls in their videos. You
just hit on something.
They always play the song like because he's rapping to it like it's a girl, but he's rapping about his drug addiction. It sounds like
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's a point that Shadow was talking about, which I'll come back to that. But since you brought this up, it reminds me of another song. The Weeknd, one of his most famous songs, the most popular song is "Can't Feel My Face," and that song is literally talking about cocaine, about basically dying early to cocaine, and being in love with the cocaine. And if you watch the video, it actually throws in a lot of demonic stuff. I didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna get you.
I remember that video. Here. That's when I had a feeling that he was kind of struggling with some demons, because if you remember his song, what's the one where he's driving the Ferrari or the super fast car? The last scene in the music
Marcus,
video.
I think you were talking about this video.
Yeah, well, I could do a whole thing on The Weeknd. I mean, Weeknd is a recovering addict too, I believe. I honestly think Weeknd has some other stuff going on. Like it gets even deeper with Weeknd than that. But that would be
weird imagery in his videos, man.
Another show going into all my stuff about Weeknd.
Did you catch on to just real quick, like not to go into too long. Do you catch that in his videos that he's got some occult stuff going on?
That's what I'm talking about. Jack knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
we spoke briefly about his music videos in a earlier episode. Marcus,
did we talk about it in an episode, or was it wasn't an episode that we talked about it?
His videos, but you went over it briefly. It wasn't a deep dive.
We will
Tina,
do it.
Thank you, Starboy. Starboy's the track.
Actually, I'm gonna put a button in that. Tina, remind me to come back to the weekend. Somebody remind me to come back to the weekend because I don't want to forget this point, which Shadow was talking about.
Well, that song I was telling you guys about, he says in the song, he said, I feel like I'm done for fucking with you. I spent stupid racks. And girls are singing it like, oh my God, oh my God. But yo, this dude is just telling you he's blown thousands of dollars on an addiction. And it's like because he samples the One More Chance from Biggie's song. And it's a dope beat. It's a dope flip of the sample. But that's just trying to get your attention away from the fact dude is talking about his whole drug addiction.
Yeah.
The best samples that I've heard are the ones that sound familiar, but they use the actual qualities of the sample that accentuate its use without outwardly exposing what they're sampling. And then when they connect it, like the way that I sample is I connect it towards the end of the track. Or I'll let everyone hear the sample play all the way through once, and then I start cutting it. Because I don't want to hide anything from.
Yeah, like with the beat, it goes
nice.
And then the beat's like, and it just comes in like that. But it's a new age drum, so it sounds a lot different. And they flip it's not a boom bap anymore. It's just a hard bass line with an 808.
I think you and I are going to be exchanging some samples, man.
Of course. But and then another song, who was it? Gunna. You guys heard of Gunna?
Here, hold on, Jen. Hold on. I want to get back to this one point before I forget it. When he brought up about how hip hop flipped, because I mean we could go all day long going individual songs, but like what he was talking about in general, how rock music used to be about a lot of depression, and
Hurt by 9 Inch Nails.
Embracing the negative, stuff, depression, suicidal music, a lot of that stuff. But it's flipped now to more anti-depression, more trying to look at the causes. Like, I'll throw out a couple of bands, for instance. Flowbots is one. You have Rise Against, Rage Against the Machine. All of those are more protest.
Don't you mean Rage for the Machine?
Well, at this point, that's where they are now.
You gotta explain to people it's not that.
But do you think like the cancel culture and different things like that, especially with more people being more, People being more, what is the word I'm trying to say? People just paying attention or trying to nitpick every little thing an artist says played a part in why there was a shift?
Yes and no. Because like there was the PMRC, like most people are too young to remember this, but there was a PMRC that was trying to censor lyrics that may have had to do with something negative or not or whatever the fuck. But I mean, music is always subjective, right? But honestly, like I think cancel culture doesn't really have anything to play with it because cancel culture is always within the purview of the masters, right? Like,
and they'll use it for their advantage, like Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, because like what the most popular shit is, and like I'd actually like to bring in a spiritual warfare aspect of this, is that like without connection, like I think that when you over sexualize and hyper fucking substance abuse eyes, for lack of a better term, you remove the power of connection between people in partnership, right? So like it
normalizes it too.
Yeah, we're in a situation.
It normalizes it to be fucked up.
Yeah, and so like we're in a situation now where like the only interaction that a male and a female are supposed to have is supposed to be sexual and completely and totally material, right? There's not supposed to be any emotion. There's not supposed to be any spiritual connection or like mental connection between the two, right? And so, like, as we move forward in that purview, like, you have to fucking insert drug use into that, because drug use is what fucking alienates everyone, right?
It's
like,
how you render a soul out of someone most effectively, outside of torture, is you get them addicted to something, because that addictive cycle is so self-destructive. And depending on the amount of trauma that person's going through, I don't know if you guys have been this way, but everyone gets down. But when you get down so much to where you're feeling physical pain, there's something going on there. And I don't, I do meditation, a few things. I do a lot of self-work. But, that's the thing with self-work, though. You stop working on it one day, you're going to start slipping off the edge. So I got to keep on it every single day. But that's not an issue, because I always try to find a way to help other people while I'm doing that. Because I always feel like stuff that I went through was for a reason, Like, I was shown things the hard way, but that's the only way that my stubborn ass would see it, because I used to not believe in the divine until I felt what was the divine acting through whatever you want to call that. God, source energy, whatever you call it, the connection between all human beings. Having gone through a couple near-death experiences, I can't even explain them. So like that, but again, like, and that's why I don't judge people. Like, I think I understand there's people that are super religious, but I also think we got to like respect people and meet them where they are on that, and not, really just try to see everyone's point of view. Because I think religions are beautiful. I think spirituality is beautiful.
Well, and I think that's something, like, as far as like a society aimed to, and how they've done it in music, is that they hyper atheistized.
You're right.
Like we worship at the altar of science now. It's not that we believe in science; it's that we worship at that altar, right? It's a very fucking cult feeling, and like I think the fall of the music industry is like a myriad of things, right? Like, of course, it's more fucking marketable if you don't have anything that's really thought provoking, right? Like, there's nothing that fucking it's all very low vibrational, superficial fucking lyrics
Correct.
and content and culture around it, and it's that makes it super marketable, but also it turns people into more of the machine that they want us to be, right? They want us to be hyper focused on the material. It's that extreme materialism. It's that one of the three evils of society that MLK was talking about fucking 70 fucking years ago. Maybe not 70, 60 years ago. It's how you hyper materialize, right? And I think that,
ShadowBanned, sorry to cut you off, but you just made an excellent point. Especially with the hyper focus on materialism. I can say, at least for my generation, it's all about what expensive shoes you have. Where'd you get your jeans from? Oh, I don't get my jeans from this cheap place. I gotta have designer jeans. And even the artists in the music now, it's $10,000 on a product fit just to chill and like. And then now kids are walking around with Balmain shorts that are $500 and thinking,
Jesus.
like, this is what you gotta do.
Don't trip, bro. I remember fucking Air Force Ones was the biggest fucking hit in a fucking minute for like fucking 6 months. Every fucking 10 minutes on the radio.
Because of the little blow up thing, right? Those are the ones that had the little.
No, they were those were those fucking, what was it? Nelly and fucking a couple other fucking.
But Air Force Ones were never $500.
Well, I mean, but they were still expensive shoes, right?
I mean, in all honesty, a regular pair that wasn't like a custom, that wasn't like one of the, and when I mean custom, I mean, if there was only like a couple made of this one, they would jack the price way up on those. But most average Air Force Ones were like $70.
That's not
bad. And they're only $98 now, so it only increased by almost $30.
But some of those ones, if you had like say if they came out with one which was white, with
I collect sneakers, but not like obsessively.
That one might be a $120, $150.
Do you remember what the chorus was? Give me 2 pairs. I need 2 pairs. Right? Like that was the whole fucking gist of the song is I need 2 pairs of these. I can't just have 1 pair of these, right? So it's like it was marketing, But it was also super crazy fucking materialist. And then a few years later, what was his name? Paul Wall fucking came out with rob this jewelry store and tell him make me a grill because a grill was fucking really that important or whatever the fuck.
And Nelly was on that with the grills too. So Nelly has always been pushing, materialism at a heavy amount.
I can say that even in my generation for Air Forces, the rule is you need at least 3 pairs of Air Forces. You need
I'm with you, Tina.
We're up to 3 now?
Yeah.
Fuck shoes. Actually, I am kind of a prima donna when it comes to my work boots. I will fucking be totally fucking. I have 2 pairs of Red Wings that I swap every other day because I'm an old man and I can't fucking stand not having good fucking.
Yeah, but the difference is with us, if you don't have a good pair of work boots, now your feet, your back, your knees, all that shit is going to be fucking hurting. And it's worth it to pay a little bit extra money to not feel that pain.
I can't.
Apple bottom jeans. I forgot about that, Jim.
I can't talk. I've spent $300 of my own dollars on a pair of Jordans.
Yo. And it takes them about fucking 3 cents to make that.
Of course, I knew that, but they were a rare, limited pair. I'll show you guys the shoes.
I guess
Red Wings are indeed based, my friend. So are Thorogoods, Union made shop.
That's wow. I would never pay $300.
$300 for a pair of shoes.
Nice.
You guys why $300.
Nope.
Wait,
dude, not even my fucking work boots cost that much.
Let me tell you why I paid $300. You guys want to know really why?
Yeah.
I think they released at retail for $220 or maybe $180. When I tell you that resellers are messing up the shoe and clothes market, these shoes on retail will be maybe between $120 and $220. Resell these are going for $600.
You're onto something. They're doing this with what are called graphics processing units, what you used to play video games with on home computers. And the reason why that market is increased is because people are mining Ethereum, which is just a cryptocurrency. They're mining it, meaning that they're getting some of the cryptocurrency for solving math problems. They're doing that, and what was nuts is that I'm do builds. Like I've been building PCs since I was a kid. I do custom jobs for people that are in like really tough, like hard up situations because no one can afford to do like their own builds. So I'll do them. Like I had a friend who had to be on like on call rotation or whatever. So I just did a build for him. We did it from scratch. Guess how much the GPUs were marked up then and where they are now? They were about so a card going for 600, you would have to pay 1,200 on eBay back then. We got his for like around 11 to 1,000. I was able to talk the guy down. That was brand new. Literally, the guy just bought it and then resold it from the manufacturer. That's all they're doing. And so they're on those lists, like literally like sniping those, like making sure that they get all the graphics cards they can because this markup's so high. The same card is now $1,500 on eBay. I just checked last night. It'll probably go up to $1,800 because that's how much money people are making doing not just that, but it's not just Ethereum that they can mine on these cards. They can do all kinds of stuff with graphics cards, including science work, legit science work.
NFT.
Well, let's hold off on that, and we'll get to that when we get into the topic.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That was a lot, y'all. If anything was understood, I will drop links and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, in fact, you know what? We can go on ahead and transition into that. But I want to say this last thing because
Marcus, before you get into that, I had to ask Jackass something. One quick question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned how technology with those cards. So I wanted to know, were you familiar with bots?
Well, we're gonna go into tech next.
Oh,
this is music.
We'll say that.
We're going into the tech and transition to NFTs and Metaverse next. Perfect. But I was gonna say, talking back to rock music, a lot of that being more therapeutic and that transition. For me, one of the earliest transition points I noticed, because I had a counselor have me listen to this song in particular, Jeremy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the song Jeremy by Pearl Jam.
Jeremy's
Well, I witnessed something, I won't go into detail, but something like that. And so witnessing that, it affected me in my teens, and so I had to see that. I had to listen to that song for therapy,
Right
and
on,
that
man.
got me more into some of the rock music and stuff. So, I wanted to say that last little part, getting it so while it was still on my brain, and then if Jalen is back, we can let him hop into your question. For Jack and any other topics that are
One
going into this whole metaverse and metaverse real estate stuff.
one thing really quick, just really quick, Marcus, that last thing you mentioned was massive to me because just like that one song did that for you, I couldn't have gotten through recovery without music ever.
Yeah.
That's just too in my soul. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. In fact, I noticed when I had a problem was when I stopped doing music. I stopped working on it. And that's when I was like, wait a minute,
music
there's an
also.
issue.
Yo,
For those who don't know, growing up, I played trumpet, tuba, drums, and a little bit of electric bass.
But
Trumpet, bass guitar, and electric guitar. And
I noticed that, not to be off topic, but I always noticed that with music. My grandmother always was a big smooth jazz fan. So we used to have the radio in the kitchen, and she had a jazz CDs. And there was something about that saxophone sound that just hit me. And one of my favorite shows, Regular Show, if you guys have ever heard about it, there was an episode where the blue bird, Mordecai, his girlfriend Margaret, breaks up with him because she moves cities. So they have him follow him around with the sad sax, a guy playing it, and the chords always just made me feel like, dang, this feels so nice.
If you haven't checked out Cowboy Bebop on Netflix, check it out right now because they incorporate jazz into every aspect of that show, and it's a great show. It's a great live action version of the anime. Go watch the original anime too.
Okay, got you. So to segue into the question, for technology, I was wondering, are you familiar with bots?
Sure. So do you mean like AI and like machine learning and like bots or like bots like for social media to like program or things like that?
So we were talking about shoes and different things skyrocketing. Another thing that resellers will do is they'll buy bots for $100 so odd dollars. They'll buy like maybe 20
to snipe
bots.
the cells. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Selling and buying.
Can you clarify? Can you, I guess, re-clarify so everybody knows what you mean by bots?
Basically, these bots are automated people that go in. So when you join the Nike sneakers app at 10 a.m. when a shoe drops, because there's so many people trying to purchase the shoe, you are on a virtual waiting list. Like just as if you were in line waiting for like the PlayStation 2 to drop, waiting outside the store. But it's virtual. So these bots stand as people in line. These bots can purchase the shoe for the person who buys them, and if they're reselling them and they want to keep a pair, the bots can get them 4 pairs. I resell 3 for $400 more than the original price, and I keep a pair for myself. And these bots,
you just hit on something huge.
These take up so much of the market for regular people that, scratch, like kids like a little bit younger than me. I remember 16, 15, scraping up like $200 to buy a pair of Yeezys. For resale, Yeezys are almost $1,000. So a lot of these kids feel like they got to spend all this money because there's no place for even retail prices. I can't even get it for the cheaper price because it all gets bought out and it's not even people buying them. They have automated things buying it for them.
This is called artificial scarcity.
Yeah, it's artificial scarcity, and this is also another way to impoverish people is you start messing with the markets to where not only cannot they not trust the dollar, but now they see all of these things coming off of shelves that now become artificially scarce, that they're now got money stored in that they can sink the markets on any time. And this goes for all of crypto. So anyone arguing that crypto is going to like save everything, that's just Wall Street 2.0. I'm going to do some writing on it, but that's all it is, man.
I think I made a point on that last show. I said we were talking about the metaverse, and I think Marcus or my dad had asked me about my generation and getting into the metaverse. But speaking about crypto, I was saying that it's going to be easy shift because I believe that our economy is destabilizing on purpose because it's going to all
100%.
It's going to flow into demolition.
Exactly, just like 9/11, but never mind.
You nailed it, man.
But I also was saying that a lot of my friends invest in crypto, NFTs, and before I get into it, people are buying a bunch of different things online, and there's also crypto. There's a Bitcoin ATMs.
Watch what happens to them.
Yeah, there's Bitcoin.
Yo, you're in Florida, Kano?
Yes, I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
So
that is ground
that's the
fucking
capital
zero
of America
in the
right now.
United States.
That's ground zero for all cryptocurrency. Is like exactly, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Florida
A
is
lot
where
of my
everything's going
friends
down.
who live in Florida, all they do is like, Jay, you need to get on this. So I'll get in a couple investment places there. I don't have too much money synced in, but it seems like they want us to invest in crypto coin because that's where the new economy is going to come.
Bingo. And that's why
More
they're going
than
to
the
show
new
you
economy.
these millionaires, like quote unquote, like these Dogecoin millionaires. This happens every cycle. Like it's been happening. Like I got involved in cryptos back in 2011 when I was like, I'm not going to go into that story, but I got into Bitcoin. Essentially, I was like mining it, which is just how you create it in the system.
I didn't even know Bitcoin was a thing in 2011. I was just
Oh
watching.
man, dude, I was reading that.
I thought it was
again,
all
like,
bullshit. I could have fucking invested then. Big
oh
dummy.
my god,
Bullshit.
I had.
Man, I was watching.
I saw
watching
people who sent
videos
hundreds of it. I know people who paid hundreds of Bitcoin for pizza once when it was around $2 that I'm now looking back on and they're like, that was the most expensive damn pizza I've ever ordered. That's like an almost $500,000 pizza for some of these fools, man.
Must have fucking been gold plated and fucking suck you and fuck you while it's at it.
I mean, dude, that's a all service pizza. I don't know where you get something that good. Is that Queens?
Actually,
what borough serves pizza that good, dude?
I don't know. I've never been to New York.
My friend,
personal experience, Queens.
Yeah, my friend back in sophomore year, he invested a lot into Bitcoin, and he had, I think, something in the thousands. And when he transferred it into US dollars, he only had $1,200. He had $1,200, but it's so expensive just to cross over. So then, as we keep getting further into it, things are look. Gas is already up. The price of food is up. You look at the grocery stores. You have children. I'm sure you see.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. How old are your children?
So my son is 5 years old.
Okay,
currently.
So you're not too far away from buying formula, correct?
Dog, formula was fucking insane, bro.
That's what I'm saying. And now imagine if we're paying it in crypto, you're paying thousands of more dollars than what it really actually costs.
And you hit it on the head because the future value, that's why like what you hear to refer to as the smart money, all it is, it's a people of insiders that or people that know what's going on long term. They know that long term all this inflation that's been printed through all this money printing and through what's called quantitative easing, where they do like fractional reserve lending, fake money essentially. The ways the government is legally allowed to do that, not even audited. If you've ever heard like Catherine Austin Fitz talk about it, there's I don't remember the name of the rule, but they don't have to audit anymore like a normal company would. So they can literally launder money. Our government can, and no one says shit. It's nuts, dude. But you're right. Cryptos are a way that's going to happen. And it's really insane how much they're getting people like used to it and how much like the people that are like sitting back are making off of people right now.
And not only that, Jack, they're also connecting it right to our addicting devices. Now, look, you can use a lot. Look, direct deposit became a thing. People hate getting checks now because it became so normalized. People are like, this woman at my job, she's like, oh my God, we just started. We're going to get a paper check. Oh my God, I don't want a paper check. And I'm like,
to add to that, Jalen, real quick. When I first went in the Navy, a lot of the people, I would say easily 50% of the people going in around us, which I guess that'll tie to the story later, did not have bank accounts or checking accounts. And at that time, like if you went in maybe 6 months before me, you still could get the paper check. By the time I went in, everybody had to have a direct deposit. And what they would do is they literally brought in 2 of the local banks, and we had to choose one from the other. That's a whole nother story we can go down.
Those were weren't those the on post because like I had friends I would have to get to PT at like 6 a.m. and be drunk as skunks, but that's a whole other series of stories that we'll tell. Allegedly. And again, that's all part of recovery. Nice. But yeah, there's some wild stories there. But yeah, and it's just nuts, man. And really, like, this is kind of where like I have issues with like the way that some of the content is kind of relayed to people. Is that I think the better way is that you be upfront with them about everything, including your knowledge level. Then that's super critical, because I know me personally, if I know someone's lying to me or acting like they know more than they know, that is a warning sign, right? And but again, it's like I don't understand. I mean, I understand it. Like everyone wants to feel good about something, but like if you just tell people what's going on, they understand it. It's pretty intuitive.
Livelihood, yes, of course. And then another thing, Jack, is now it's going to be so much easier transferring to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Look, they changed the way we even use our debit card, especially with COVID. This was another shift.
Yo,
Apple Pay.
Move away from cash.
Dog, you hit on it fucking
Pay,
perfect.
Look, Apple
You were so far ahead of like so many people I know right now.
Yeah. I mean, like, goddamn, dude, I wish I was as smart as you.
You see why? I was like, most people would think, why do you have a 19-year-old co-host? Do you see why?
It's fucking bright. Goddamn, if I was as smart as I was still fucking in a bottle of goddamn Will Schmidt vodka when I was fucking 19 years old.
He runs circles around me at 19.
When I was 19. When I was 19, I was trying to find my ass.
And also, I started to notice like 2018, 2019, you would get certain stores, if they had the nicer card machines, you could Apple Pay or like before my dad used to use Samsung and Google Pay. Now, especially with COVID, contactless, now every place is universally. I remember like 2020 in the beginning, 2019, Publix did not have Apple Pay. Universally all over the nation, in the US wide, they have Apple Pay at Publix. Now you have to have it now. And that's another.
And then
chip.
soon it's going to be something in your body. It'll be a chip, or like Marcus, that video you showed.
Yeah. Well, that's actually something over at a lot of fucking concerts now. It's all cashless. It has to be cashless. Like at our fucking biggest venue here in New Mexico, it's the Journal Pavilion. Well, I think it's called the Isleta Pavilion. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. It's completely cashless. It's completely fucking paperless, right? So you get your ticket comes on your phone, and you have to bring up your QR code for your fucking ticket, and you have to pay solely with fucking either card or fucking Google Pay or whatever the fuck pay, right? And like that's how they fucking ease it in, right? Like not to get entirely too crude, but I'm gonna get entirely too crude. It's like fucking anal. You don't just fucking put it in. You gotta fucking ease it in, right? Like ease it the fuck in. And
can we say here's some scripture?
But
I specifically use that analogy because they are jamming it in your fucking ass at this point, right? Because like, as the fucking dollar crashes and fucking and paper cash goes bye-bye,
they can't hide
everything becomes digital, and if everything becomes digital, nothing is auditable anymore. There is no fucking there's no fucking printing money. They just fucking type some fucking numbers into the fucking they type some numbers into the fucking into the existence of fucking money, right? Some fucking move some decimals around, and that's it, right? And as we move into cryptos, especially now that we've seen widespread adoption, right? And people are fucking chasing the fucking gains. They're chasing that digital dragon, as Jack would fucking put it. They're chasing the fucking gains. They're not fucking paying attention to the consequences that may have to pay later. That's very fucking important, because as the fucking dollar crashes, right? Controlled demolition of the economy, you're going to have tokenomics that come out. You're going to have special tokens that are used for fucking housing, and special tokens that are used for entertainment, and special tokens that are used for food, and special tokens that you can transfer between people. And it's all going to be expirable. You won't be able to fucking save your fucking money.
I say don't forget the smart tech weapons, which that's eventually going to start to become a thing also, because they already have RFID chips for certain weapons where there's a RFID watch, which you have to have. Instead of the thumbprints like they do in the movies and all that stuff, it is a RFID chip. And if you don't have that RFID chip within a certain radius, you can't fire the weapon.
Well, think about that's
that
how
bothers me.
Think about
Because
like how
that
they bring in
violates
the
what a
Second
firearm
Amendment kind
is.
of thing to it, right? Like, you know how like fucking the constant battle is take away the guns, fucking people shouldn't, certain people shouldn't have fucking guns, blah, 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 blah. So how they can do it is they can fucking put a fucking RFID chip in every single fucking manufactured weapon, and then at the fucking drop of a hat, they can take away your ability to fucking use your weapon. You have the right to fucking keep and bear arms, but you won't be able to fire the motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Maybe you didn't get your like other like follow up of something, you know, like it's always going to be another thing.
Yeah.
And it's all compliance.
Do people around your age, do they start to not like carrying cash?
Pretty much. It was kind of trained out of.
I come from a drug scene. Cash is king.
See,
but
and that life's yeah.
But and even my friends, they do not like cash. Like even my girlfriend, she's like, "Oh, I don't like." Say we paid for something and I had it in cash, and I'm like, "All right, I'll just give you the cash." 9 times out of 10, she's just gonna be like, "Just keep the cash. Just pay me back whenever it's on your card," because she does not like carrying cash. One of my friends, I always like. See, you never know what can happen. Your bank can lock. Maybe you can't transfer over.
Exactly.
I always like to keep at least $40 in cash on me.
You're smart,
you
man.
Never know. I'm driving on the highway. It hasn't advanced yet to where you can Apple Pay.
You can need to repair a flat, pay someone to help you get if you get locked out of your car. You're so smart for doing that.
That's why it's like you always got to keep at least some of the physical while we're still able to. I don't get the whole abandonment wanting to jump ship when people so quick to just jump right into automation. And don't even realize it's going to get to a point where you can't think for yourself.
They're building their own prisons right now.
Kind of why I've been keeping all of my fucking coin, right? Because there's a nationwide coin shortage or whatever the fuck. I'm keeping all of it because, that's going to become fucking worth some money later that I might need. Like, I ain't trying to fucking cash in my fucking penny for a fucking penny.
A great story? I used to go to services all the time, and I used to go to multi-faith services and multi-faith buildings. And one of the services that I went to was just kind of like meditating, right? Something very like relaxed. And one of the people there came up, handed me something, and smiled. And I smiled back, nodded back, took it, and I never really thought about it. I just kind of put it in my sock drawer for like years. And then I grew up, but I always kept it on me because it felt like it gave me luck or something. But I went and looked at it. It's pure silver. That person gave me like a big fat coin of pure silver for no reason. And I was like, I didn't understand what it was at the time, but I was just as grateful if I would have known, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I never thought about that. But again, like that's like the thing with crypto is like I don't want to attach it too much to silver being a form of currency, like the emotion of that story. It's more that it's interesting how the inversion goes all the way to crypto. It goes through all this stuff. Because fiat is just unmanageable. The petrodollar is collapsing. They can't keep using OPEC to be the boogeyman anymore because people realized that North America had some of the most production of crude. I think when Obama was in or whatever, then on all times, like we were using our reserves, like 2% of our reserves, our national fuel reserves. It was nuts. Like I was like, people were talking about needing oil from OPEC, and I was like, 98% of production is domestic by 2016.
Obama was using that to bomb all the Muslims in the Middle East. That's why it went up so high.
Yeah, the oil is just like a added on knock-on effect for them, man. Like that's just like Jesus.
As a former military guy, I'll tell everybody the real secret. All this gas price stuff is they find reasons to inflate the prices. They like Shadow said earlier, it's false scarcity so that speculators can run prices up and make money. That's all it's about. It's that simple.
Got to get it in before the reset, because once they do that reset, there's no coming back from. That's what terrifies me the most is how low vibrational are they going to go with what they're doing. That's what terrifies me.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people don't understand. And I'll put it this way. Most people, and I don't fault them in this way, because if they had that same power, they would never even think of doing the shit that the people at the top are planning to do. And so it doesn't even occur to them in their brains, on how bad shit can get or what some of the goals or intentions are, because they're not that type of people. Even the people which we might think are kind of crummy, they're not to the level of these people. And so if you can't put yourself in the shoes and thought processes of like a literal like evil genius, then you can't fathom what the hell's coming on. Yeah.
You made a point with what you said, false scarcity. Elon Musk, he just sold his shares like $22+ billion, and then he wants to come out and said we're all a slave to violence, their power of violence. But then someone on Twitter made a point like, yes, we are a victim to violence. It's fake violence. Like you said, they create false scarcity when they're draining the reserves. Same thing with well, let me not say vid, but other different things. They have to scare, they have to hype it up.
Misha's correct. I won't read it out, but I'm just going to put it on the screen. Everybody can see it.
Actually, it's per
it's
the
less than
Georgia
that,
Guidestones, it's 500,000 per
But
the
that's
Georgia
what I'm saying.
Guidestones
They
and
get
Ted
a lot
Turner.
of people scared. Look, they had people buying toilet paper. You don't even need toilet paper if you locked in the house. You need food. You need water.
What they created. That's the gasoline shortage around me. They created that. Like everywhere around me lost gasoline. The one where they said the hack of Colonial Pipeline, that wasn't a hack. They couldn't bill people. That's all it was.
They create these fake narratives.
The toilet paper thing, what that's about, what that is about is so that when there seems like there's a scarcity in the stores, this prepping over and over of these short-term, outages, or it'll get people. So when the time comes, when it is going to really be that kind of a famine, everybody's going to go in there and flood and buy up everything. And then there really is going to be for real scarcity out there because they're going to hold everything back.
You know what's funny though, Marcus? Like what you guys were talking about, the shoes, the fake scarcity. It's funny whenever like a shoe, they'll post the ad, people post a shoe, get people hyped for it. They say, oh, Justin, they're releasing 2,500 new pairs. And it's this false scarcity. You don't think they have millions of these shoes just sitting in a factory that could just be shipped out and sold for retail?
Yeah, well, you don't think that they could do? You don't think they could do 3 million pairs of the same pair of Jordans that you had, selling those for $10 a piece? Do you know how much it actually costs per shoe to make?
Probably about a cent or less.
I bet it's like $1.50.
It's roughly about $2. That's factoring in
oh my god, I was so close. I used to work in warehouses.
$2 per pair of shoes, not one shoe. For each pair of shoes, about $2.
And even retail's is $2.20.
Yeah. The reason I was saying that is I literally thought of the material. I put a bill of goods in my head and I was like, what would this be?
Here's the thing you also got to factor in. When they buy the materials in mass bulk. That's one thing. It drops the prices down massively.
Through financial institutions, conglomerations, and all the rest, they own that fucking. It's in trust, right? Like the materials to build the shit are owned by the same financial institution that are backing the fucking producers, right? Like, this is like serious hardcore market manipulation.
Yeah, most people don't realize that. A lot of the same people for Nike and Adidas and all that own a lot of these other textile companies where they're getting the leather and suede and all that stuff from. Yeah. The only thing that they're paying for is the cheap labor, which they're getting in the literal sweatshops that they, have it put together in. And then they have the same kind of tie together because they know how much they're going to sell. They leak that information to the shippers. So the shippers, they get away with very, very cheap shipping, bringing it back into the States because they let them make money back off of the stock market prices on how much they're going to sell.
You know what's funny? They get on people for petty theft in stores, stealing these jackets and hoodies. But let's really talk about what the people are going through making them for such cheap. And you got somebody in here, I have to protect the brand, protect the store's integrity. If someone went and stole a pair of $300 shoes, I might just act like I didn't see anything. Because at the who cares?
I don't care. I'm going to let it go. Here's another thing.
Someone.
The store has everything that's insured in there. You know how fast they can write all that shit up. I've worked retail combined between Home
how much a
Depot
protein
and
bar costs in a gas station.
Home Depot and Lowe's for
That's how
10 years.
fucking homeless people eat, right? They want to fucking starve people, dude. That's the real theft.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking criminal. And like I'd like to actually kind of walk you through how market manipulation has been done a little bit. Is that the financial institutions, they own the fucking precious metal mines. They just do, right? They own gold and silver mines. So when people say, we need to go back to the gold standard, you're a fucking idiot, right? Because as soon as the price of fucking... Yeah. As soon as the price of gold goes too high, they ramp up production at the mine to drop the fucking... to flood the market with supply so that the price fucking drops. And then when it goes too fucking low, they stop production completely, and that fucking equalizes out the fucking price. So there is no such thing as a free market. They're all fucking manipulated. All markets monopolized. Period.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny. Like at I was working at PacSun, and they were big on like theft. Pay attention. If you leave your side of the floor, let someone know so they can watch that side.
I was in loss prevention.
If someone had stolen one of those graphic tees on the wall, guys, I would have said nothing. You want to know why? In the back, we probably had 70 more pairs in like 3-4 different sizes in the back. If they lost,
I was always checking on people. Like I didn't last long because they were wanting you to like find people that were already going through some shit and give them some more shit to go through, and I didn't want to do that. So I was just like, I don't know what they're going through. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's fun. Yeah, Tina and I worked at both, so I know how shitty both of them are.
I never worked at a Home Depot, but I worked retail.
Well, and I'm a bigger guy, so you know what they're gonna do. Normally, like a lot of stores, the loss prevention is normally. I'm not saying in your case, Jack, but I'm saying most of the time it's normally a woman or older kind of like not in very great shape guy who's trying to play fucking detective. Hey, you go around that way. You go around that way and look, and then I'm gonna go over to this aisle, and they're peeking through the aisles to try to see if somebody stole. Oh, Tina worked in the garden. So did I. I was a garden specialist also.
But, I know the exact person you're talking about. That was
I worked all over the store.
Never had a power trip.
So let me tell you guys this story actually. So I was in Walmart, and the self-checkouts. So I had scanned multiple items at one time, and I accidentally didn't put a few in the bag. Like a few of them didn't get picked up by the scanner. So they picked me up. As soon as I'm walking up the store, they grabbed me. They're like, yo, come in here. You got to sit in here. And these guys were talking down to me. Like, I was like, oh, my bad. So I literally was sitting there having a conversation with them. I'm like, so how many people do you usually catch a day? And they're just sitting there in the back, zooming in on people shopping to make sure they aren't stealing. And I wasn't even being apologetic. I wasn't kissing ass. I was just talking to them. And they're just so pretentious. Like, you're so important. You're literally watching people shop to catch somebody stealing for maybe $15 an hour. And then you're talking to me like I'm some criminal.
I used to work I used to work at nights, so I would see a lot of time when the Met team came in, and when I worked over at Lowe's, I worked for, the PSAs over there doing the same thing you did. Just want to throw that in.
I told the guys, I said, look, can I go in and is there a choice? Can I go in and just pay for the items? I have the money. Obviously, I was going to pay. It was an accident. And he goes, no, we can't let you do that. We sure do hear that a lot. We sure do hear that.
My first question is that
was my first thing.
With you always assumed that they were going to pay for it. Why do you assume that someone was stealing?
Look, they wanted to call the cops on me so bad they wouldn't even let me pay for the items. I was like, where?
I can tell you why. Because now we're getting way out. But the last thing I'll say before I drag us back on the topic is the goal is they want you to go into the system. They've already programmed people to say, oh, well, this is what you need to do. And they also incentivize those people so that you will get arrested because they get bonuses for getting people arrested, basically. So that's why they did it. They do that on purpose.
This is how shitty the justice system is. You get it if the cops don't come within an hour, they have to let you go and wipe their hands with it, wipe all the records. The stupid cops.
No, they don't.
There's a precinct, there's a precinct barely.
They don't have to do that.
Listen,
I don't know who told you that. They don't have to do that.
That's Walmart's rule. Apparently.
So, yeah, but that's not a state law, though.
Okay, so
that might be that one because I know people depending on the state, they've sat for quite a while.
So Marcus, listen to this. So I'm in loss prevention at Walmart. This is how shitty the police system is. The precinct is less than 5 minutes away from where I was. I know because I used to go to school in the same area. It's right down the street. These people didn't even come within an hour, and after an hour passed, I was gone. So
man, that's weird.
Everyone's like, "We need more police," and they show up late to the crime. They show up to tag the body. They don't show up to save nobody.
Yeah.
We could take that somewhere else, but actually, I wanted to jump into this. Did you guys?
Wait a minute. I forgot. I guess I can bring it up. I'll talk about it a little bit because when we talked about the whole music thing, we focused mostly on the drug part, and we skipped out on the other half of it. And I guess I'll do this briefly, and then we can skip past this because I don't want us to start running out of time getting to all that, getting to the other topic. But there's always been like sex pumped into the music, but I mean, I feel like it's been on steroids lately with like before. Yeah, you had the Trinas out there who said a lot of off the wall shit. You guys know what song I'm talking about. You don't know now with Trick Daddy, but now you got like 50 of them, and I can't remember the girl's name, but some girl, she was doing this whole thing crying and all that, talking about how they basically told her like she had to be sexual in her stuff to get promoted up. And they did that with the girl who was originally in the Black Eyed Peas also. That's why she got forced out of the band because she wouldn't be more sexual. And they didn't even want her to do nothing compared to what they're having the girls do now.
It's lizard brain. Bro, it's lizard brain. Like when you see as a man, when you see scantily clad women, your higher brain functions turn off. It takes a lot of fucking training to unfucking do that.
You're not thinking with the right head.
Yeah, exactly. You're not thinking with that head.
You got to find a solid chick to go in there and is like a pro that can navigate your barriers.
You know, Cardi B has a song, girls like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, around that age, preteens to late teenagers. She has a song on TikTok that says, I want you to touch the dangly thing in the back of my throat, talking about the uvula. And you got 13-year-old girls singing this. But Marcus, you brought up a point. So, what is it called? Black Mirror did an episode. Basically, it was these people who ride the bike for money and coins to pay for everything in life. I don't know if you guys seen the episode.
Yo, you ever watch the movie Out of Time?
Where Glory Jones on your
fucking arm.
Much love, Glory.
And you had, by the way, we love you, Glory Jones.
We love you over here, Glory.
Like there was a fucking time meter on your fucking arm, and you needed that to fucking live. Like they solved immortality, but like you had to work.
I'll send it to you, Jalen. Believe it or not, I'm gonna put this out there to everybody. If you have not seen this movie, and I know some people might feel like, and they'll see Justin Timberlake on the cover. Believe it or not, he did a damn good job.
Justin Timberlake's a killer actor. I don't give a fuck. Southland Tales was the shit.
But this movie is literally on YouTube for free.
Yeah, it's got Olivia Wilde in it.
I'll send it to you.
Really fucking good.
So in the episode, basically, the girl that the main guy is in love with, she makes enough money from riding the bike in the machine to audition for this show. Like it's kind of like American Idol type thing. So as she sings and gets the part, as it continues, for her to stay famous and relevant and on the thing, she has to do damn near porn. She has to go. She doesn't even sing anymore. They make her do hardcore porn, and it just goes from her singing for the audition to turning her into a porn star.
Isn't that the Black Mirror thing?
Yeah.
Yes. So I was saying it's funny. That kind of is a real representation of how a lot of these. Think about it. How many of these celebrity women, whether it's music or just whatever stardom they have, actresses before.
Hold that thought for 2 seconds. Hold that thought 2 seconds. I literally just watched this yesterday. I don't know, maybe we got some like twinning going on right now. But sorry to interrupt you, Jay.
Trez is actually Marcus's digital twin.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. Okay, so it kind of was getting me to think of how many celebrities, A-list, whatever they are, Kardashian, Cardi B, Nicki included. How many of these women didn't have the lips, the butts, the lashes, the boobs?
Yeah.
And then as soon as they blew up to that certain level, everything became fake. It's like they forced them to just become more.
That
and
fake
more
shit's a turnoff for me, man.
Well,
like,
isn't that the whole fucking like concept of Me Too? Wasn't that like the true concept of Me Too? Is that they would fucking hypersexualize these women and force them into situations that if they wanted to fucking move forward in their fucking career, that they had to fucking sell their fucking bodies or some shit to these fucking fuckers that would then sell their fucking bodies like pimps? Like fucking dude, yeah. Like it's fucking pisses me the fuck off. Everyone thinks it's okay.
Like Epstein and Ghislaine, which that story which we're going to be doing this weekend on the Political Matrix. Just want to throw that shit in the floor.
Every Saturdays at 11. But also look at Meg Thee Stallion. A lot of the female rapper game, they're so corny, and I'm not to say that females aren't great. I love Lauryn Hill. If you guys aren't familiar with Rhapsody, she's a super dope.
But people like Lauryn Hill and Erykah Badu got pushed out for the Cardi B's and the Meg Thee Stallions and whoever else they got.
All these new female rappers are coming in. Oh, he want to grab me and ride in a caddy.
Exactly, Tina.
If he goes like this, if he don't want to ride me in a caddy and he broke, then I'm gonna go fuck on his daddy.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
But the worst part is you have 11-year-old girls doing all the dances on TikTok to these weird lyrics, and the parents are just on their phones, so they're not even paying attention to it. And now that's just hypersexualizing another generation of females. Like I remember growing up, like especially once we got 16, 17. If a girl, it was kind of like you wanted the girl to be more sexual, like my mom always said you never want a girl that just gives it up too much. You always want her to, you don't want her to give
crap. You know what?
A woman with some self-respect.
Jalen, you know what? I don't know if everybody's seen this video, but
you want me to pull it up?
I want you to pull this up. Go to my Hebrew apologetics page.
Okay, I got you. I'm going to
and look up what was it called? Busting a Move for Jesus or something like that.
Gloria, I'm laughing my ass off. Also, we should play Christian Side Hug.
And then I want you to skip to like almost the very maybe I think it's maybe like the last minute of the video. Skip to that.
Okay,
and this is what they're doing in churches.
Okay, let me see. Let me make sure.
Let me know when you need me to hook the share up.
Is it the women with the white dresses?
It's going to be right after that.
Oh, yep. It starts here.
Okay. Yeah, let me know and we'll put it up on the screen because when you talked about them pushing it to the younger ages, the video that's right after that, because I don't want to spoil it for them. I want them to see what I'm talking about before.
Okay, it's up. You can post it in the thing.
All right. No, yeah, go forward a little bit more.
But wait, I want them to see this.
No, they don't need to see this part. They can watch. They can go and check out the rest of the video later.
Okay,
but go a little bit further.
What the?
It's after this. Oh yeah, she's giving a lap dance to church elders. This part.
What the?
What the fuck?
What?
This is in a church.
Yo, there's children there.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not a church. That's there's some demonic shit going on right there.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
told
yeah.
whenever people were kissing on like TNT, I was told to close my eyes.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
This
I don't
is
know
what
what the
they
hell that
felt
is.
was appropriate at church. At their church, anyway.
Christ.
Yeah, because you know what? Pole dancing is a sport now.
And so I guess they felt like because she was wearing a little thing which fell off, that was supposed to be all right. But it,
Yo!
I mean,
Yeah.
she's got mad skill, but
I'd
I
really
still
like
that's
to
what they
I'm not
feel
gonna
like
go
is
into the
appropriate.
Just
Look,
saying.
look. You know what's funny? When all of those kids grow up with like a porn addiction, it's gonna be like, you know what, teens?
Or
You
the
ever
girls
beat
in that church grow up, the little girls in that church grow up thinking that they want to be pole dancers for the church.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
Fucking wrong.
the priest is
They
gonna
need
have a new
Jesus.
target instead of the young
Yeah.
boys, it's the young strippers.
All right, yeah, we can stop it, but that's what I wanted. When you brought that up, it reminded me of how they're pushing this hypersexuality to kids.
How
by
does
the
that
way,
even go down?
that-
Who
That's
pitches
on my
that?
Hebrew apologetics
Yeah.
page.
Yeah, Marcus, who
um,
proves that? Who proves
Huh?
that?
Who greenlit
Who
that
approved
in the
that?
church? Like, I want to see some
I would,
documentation.
and here's the thing about it. We stopped it before the end of it, but at the very end, do you know what you hear?
What?
Cheering and clapping,
Yeah, I did hear
Oh
that.
my-
I did hear the
and
clap.
it's women clapping too. So
They're
it's not
normalizing
like
it.
just some perverted old men in the church decided to have that.
Marcus,
This is
you
why
know
it's an
what's-
inversion.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack. But
Oh no,
Marcus,
man. Yeah, dude.
But-
The only thing I was gonna say is it's like an inversion because they're trying to normalize something that is traumatic. Like, I know
But you
friends
know-
that have like had to do that for money.
Exactly.
Pastor,
Pastor approved.
Of course. But I want to ask you guys. So, especially with women nowadays, you know, the feminist movement, things like that. Sorry for the ladies, but for some of the women out there, they even over sexualize with their daughters. They let their daughters listen to all that type of music. They let their young 13,
What
11
Glory
year
said.
old wear lipstick.
I agree.
I personally have friends, little sisters, who
I would be surprised.
they put on their mom's heels, wear lipstick, and they're on Snapchat posting like this. And I'm like, yo, you can't even speak correctly, but yet you know how to put on heels and put on duck lips and poke out your butt for the camera.
Ugh.
Yo,
That's
I think you touched
disturbing,
on
man.
something it's their mom's heels. It's their mom's makeup, right? And their mom's
But the
fucking
mom is
taught them
buying
no
the
fucking
makeup
respect.
for them. The mom is buying the makeup for them. The
Yeah.
mom is like, well, yeah, you can wear a crop top. Oh, you can wear, booty shorts, damn near. You can wear cozy shorts. Don't wear underwear. Go out the house with no bra at 11, 12 years old. You're not a grown woman. Even as a grown woman, you probably shouldn't do that. And, they change it into you can't tell me what to put on my body. And it's not, I'm not trying to tell you what to put on your body, but you're going outside the damn house looking
It's the
like
same playbook.
You look
Yo,
like
What's
you're
funny?
I'm like,
They did this with cigarettes. They were selling them as freedom torches by Edward Bernays.
Yep. They tied
Yep.
it into the male genitalia so then they could get women to
Yes.
Misha nailed it.
Exactly.
Misha.
Yes, I watched. I watched all 4 parts of the stuff. But
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Misha.
But think about it. They got all these girls wanting dudes. I don't know if you guys probably aren't into like the social media stuff outside of like information and whatever hobbies, but it was a big thing going on in pop culture. Like if he can't buy you a Birkin, he don't deserve you. So now it's if I can't buy you a $32,000 travel bag. I want you guys to hear that. A $32,000 travel bag, then he's not worth it.
That's what's kind of funny about the fucking feminist movement is that the feminist movement, they wanted to be treated as equals, right? The original feminist movement. Women want to be treated as equals and they want to be treated with fucking respect as human beings. Instead, now we have, as the feminist movement, we want to be objectified, right? Like that's the pop culture fucking panopticon is that like women are supposed to be objectified. Like what the fuck is wrong with everything?
Oh,
right?
you're saying
exactly.
And whatever happened to fucking teaching fucking men that a woman is not a fucking piece of ass to fucking top? A woman is a fucking is a human being and is meant to be respected, and you're supposed to have this fucking connection, like this spiritual fucking fusing of together. That's what the hand wrapping or the hand fasting is. That's what the fucking ring is supposed to fucking mean. But instead, now we have this idea that all fucking women are just are just like this fucking lizard brain fucking attraction.
But Shadow, if we're gonna be honest, let's go back to what even happened at the beginning of the feminist movement. It instantly got co-opted and got manipulated. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, go look up Freedom Torches and Edward Bernays.
Yep.
And his research that he got from his uncle Sigmund Freud.
We actually just mentioned that when you were laughing at the comment.
God damn you, Freud!
But, another thing too is the worst part is it's not that they're selling it to older women or maybe
glory. Oh my God, you're in my head.
It's going to 12, 13-year-olds. Like I remember in high school when, especially it was online, it was cool to, well, maybe not for me, but it was cool to expose girls' nudes, like you would get the nude pictures, you would keep them in a keepsafe, which is like a secret file box where you could put pictures in and it wouldn't be in your own gallery. It was attached to an app on your cloud there. And it was cool.
And then that cloud was fucking third party, so it was all fucking stored by somebody else. Probably selling it to fucking jackasses that make fucking billions of dollars.
And so girls would like to do it to guys. Like they would if they did dirty or they cheated on them, you had to, I'm telling you what it was now. Dating in middle school, high school, you had the fear of your genitals being exposed. Because somebody girls would get mad. Girls would get mad and just post your picture of your stuff and say, "Oh, he couldn't even stroke it good enough." And this was 14.
I feel horrible for what you guys are having to go through with this shit.
Dude, that is so fucked up for kids, man. God damn it.
That's traumatizing, dude.
Maybe it's not just like maybe you gave me the goods, like, we have one fun night and maybe I just dogged you, I never called you, but I didn't post you. I didn't embarrass you, I was just sleazy, I did what I had to do. But no, now females also have to fear like their stuff will be exposed. Like I've had people who are on my basketball team, the embarrassment they have that we all saw their sister in 7th grade were sophomores. We see their little sister's breasts because somebody in her grade posted it. Now we can all see it. And that's another thing tying to what we're talking about with online. Now with the hypersexualization with children, now they're encouraged to share it. Now girls want to take pictures in 2-piece, like 4-year-old girls are in 2-piece bikinis like this with their mothers. And it's not like you can't be a kid. It's like, okay, I have to be into sex like now. Like I had a friend whose little brother had to start identifying this kid in his class as a female because he went through a sex change in pre-K.
We're gonna start going down a whole nother road. Let's stay down for another discussion. But
their minds with stuff that's going on now.
But because we still haven't even talked about the real estate part of the and I want to tell you guys about a story which I just recently saw. I don't know if you guys have heard it yet, but Tupac's already dead. But yes,
allegedly,
Argentina, fucking infuriating.
I was gonna say is Pac back because that's when I know the apocalypse has come.
I'm getting fucking pretty
ready to write up.
Thinking about it.
You can buy his house now in the Metaverse.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, there's a complete replica of his house digitally in the Metaverse now.
Since you're speaking about artists and Tupac, let me just say this. A few years ago, at concerts, they brought out a hologram of Tupac and Biggie. Who's to say in the Metaverse you can't go to your favorite deceased artist concert? So Pop Smoke.
That's coming.
Exactly. It's all coming.
Pop Smoke was a rapper from who's in my era, who died last year, and he was only 20 years old. Now, when it's time for like my generation to start having kids, I used to listen to this artist back in the day. Now, for you, when I ask my dad, we haven't heard from him in a long time.
Jesus, Glow.
I can have my kid. Look, I can have my kid put on the goggles and he can go to a Biggie concert.
That
Yep.
is sad, man. People are going to be buying into that too.
Well,
You're right.
Well, it's all going that route, and like that's. I mean, you know what I might have to do? I might just have to bring you have another metaverse show,
I think
and have you guys come on and talk about.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I was actually even thinking of having on some friends. Glory, I would love to have you come join us one of these nights.
Yeah.
And break down some of like the metaverse like stuff that we did. Break down some of that and like add in some more different things. So one of these days we have to have Tina on too. I would love to have Tina on with you.
Divorce in the metaverse.
Yeah.
All of that's gonna happen.
But
You're going to be doing it as a goblin.
But guys, the people don't own it. Even NFTs. Everybody.
Yeah.
So a rapper got his NFT bought and stolen, and he was like, "Oh, F you up." But even though you can buy it, it clearly states you do not own it. Someone can buy this thing as you. So you will pay $50,000 in the metaverse for this house
To the clearinghouse. Yeah.
but someone else can buy it. So what the hell are we buying?
You're buying
Travis
nothing.
mass production.
You're
baseball
buying
card.
nothing exactly.
You will buy
Scott,
nothing and you will like it.
Yes.
Shut up,
and that's what this is. Travis Scott did a concert in the metaverse. Jalen, how many? For those who don't know this, Travis Scott, his concert in the metaverse. How many people viewed that concert?
I don't know too much of
200,000.
my friends, but I can imagine.
I thought you knew. Anybody? Any guesses?
Let me put it like this. I don't know the
200,000.
total, but I do know a lot of my friends,
Yep.
younger siblings, they did
Jeff
watch
says-
the concert while they were
Just
playing.
says 200,000.
No,
Probably.
like
How many? How many do you guess?
329,462.
You
I
looked
say
it
2
up.
million. I say 2 million.
Not even close. 25 million people.
I was
What
see, I
the-
was 23 million off. I knew it was in the millions.
That was in the millions, man. That is like super depressing.
Yo, but you guys got to think. You guys have to think. Think of this era. You can't think of it in the realm, in the lens of what you're thinking.
I was going to
You're
say,
right. But you got to
for-
think of it like this.
for those who do not think that this is about to become more of a thing, another bit of information. I gave you guys about I gave you guys about Snoop's house. Now football players are actually they're like, say for instance they score their 10,000 touchdown. They're selling their ball on the metaverse. That ball.
Oh,
And people are buying it. Another one is they have now booked a big time music star who is going to be doing a TV show now. They say on Meta Facebook platform, but since she's going to be part of that platform, it's only a matter of time
before
before.
it's VR.
But and her name Becky. I don't know if you guys are familiar. For those who listen to reggaeton, they might know her. Becky G is going to be doing the show now on Facebook.
Wait,
or Meta.
have you guys ever heard of NBA Moments?
Yeah.
So,
No.
in
What's
NBA,
up, ICU?
Wait,
Hey,
guys,
ICU.
what's up, ICU? I don't know you, but what's going
Hi,
on?
Tiny.
What's up?
ICU is a friend who's been around for quite a while. Remember that Deadpool / Morpheus thing I showed you? Created it. ICU made it for me.
Oh, that's dope.
Mhm.
Oh, that's what's up, ICU. Okay, so NBA Moments, you can buy a moment in an NBA game. So say Steph Curry just came down and crossed somebody and pulled up from 35 feet. You can buy that moment.
It's how they're selling imaginary bullshit even more
How
convincingly.
can I buy? But you can own and sell
You
it.
can
and
own a
trade it.
moment.
It's like a virtual card. I bought the moment, so now it's a whole video of Steph hitting the three from half court. I own that moment.
It's next is going to be the air you breathe. Like it's just
What
like that Immortal
Well,
Technique lyric.
that's kind of ironic. That's what happened in Total Recall. Remember the old school ones?
Yeah.
They were literally
Yeah.
selling
Go,
air.
David. Give the people air.
ShadowBanned.
Yeah,
Go Dagon.
dog, you're fucking me up here. Like,
But you
but
know why?
like,
You know
I would
why?
like to bring in some actual
why, though?
technicals
You know why?
from
I'll
one of
tell
the
you
fucking
this.
masterminds. Charles Hoskinson said that The value of the metaverse will far exceed anything in the fucking real world. Charles Hoskinson being the fucking evil fucking mastermind, that motherfucker behind Cardano 88.
I got some David Icke videos, which if you can catch a lot of this stuff before it gets ripped down, some of his ones were a little bit more where he's going in detail.
He's right about the control
stuff which I was seeing from him years ago, I'm starting to see all start to like, and it's not like, okay, well, this will happen, and then this will happen another 2 or 3 years later, and another 5 years later. Now it's happening like this is happening a couple of months later, then a couple of months later, and all of it is literally just like that, back to back to back to back. Yes, Tina, you will have an Ozzy Blizzard of Oz concert. You will have the Metallica Ride the Lightning show, them in their prime. For those who are those AC/DC fans, you're going to see that. Those who want to have Jimi Hendrix live and want to have Bob Marley live, all of that stuff. Let's take it even back, because a lot of old school feel like, oh, well, I'm not going to be into that. Okay, when they pop out Richie Valens live, and when they pop out, what's his name, Elvis Presley. When they do Elvis Presley live, tell me that is not going to reel in a lot of people.
They better not do Johnny Cash.
The fucking Beatles.
They're going to do them all. They're going to do them
remember
all.
that
I have faith that
record companies own the fucking rights to those fucking artists. They own
Except for
those
Johnny
fucking
Cash, though. I think Johnny Cash, one of the few artists that retained all of his original work. The good news there is that his son was active in his books, like in his writing, so he knows his dad was. Many people don't know this. Johnny Cash was an ordained minister. Mm-hmm. He was very much into the spiritual world ever since he was a little boy, and that's kind of where I get my name is Jack, because that was his younger brother that he lost.
ShadowBanned, Jack, are you guys around or speak to anybody around my age range?
Sometimes, yeah.
I got a couple of apprentices that are your age, but they're kids.
Do you guys talk about things like this?
No.
Okay.
No, they're not nearly as like onto what's going on. And
this is what I
try
see
to respect
people your age doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But see, I always, even if I did that, I would go back and talk to my dad and talk about stuff that was going on. And even with Marcus, there's some stuff I'll update him with that's going on in my time, and he's just like, "What the f?" But I'm like, But another reason it's so dumbfounding to you guys too, that's kind of hard for you guys to grasp, is if you guys had kids my age, then you would have seen it go from where it was to where it is now.
You're right.
Whereas most people don't pay attention to their kids. But if your kids are like intelligent enough to go back and talk to you without telling on themselves, you can kind of get a feel for what is going on. So then maybe my dad would be on here and hear it and think, oh, this isn't anything new. He's been telling me about this stuff and where it's going. So I'm not surprised that it's heading towards a metaverse, because I've been watching my son and people around his age range just get sucked into this. But just like you said, we're just on these phones. What's to stop us from putting on that one helmet once, they might sell it at a decent price, get a few parents to buy it, especially 11, 12. These kids got iPhone 13s for no reason. What do you need Face ID? You can't spell. But you getting them all this technology, and you can't even look.
That's a good point.
The biggest thing is, for me, for my era, it was my dad who always yelled, all y'all want to do is go on the games, video games. But now it's like I want to be in a virtual world where things aren't real.
But that's what's coming. That's what's coming. The virtual world. That's exactly what's coming. And oh yeah, while we were on that whole like Lamboon stuff, do you know right now? If you get in right now at the ground floor, you literally, because remember we were talking about CNN having a new owner? We talked about that on the Political Matrix this weekend. Well, you can buy the CNN building right now for the low price in the metaverse of $25,000 metaverse dollars.
I got half a pigeon turd. Half a pigeon turd.
ShadowBanned, do you really want me to blow your mind?
Do it.
Somebody bought a house for $20 million in the metaverse.
Oh, that's like money laundering, and
there's fucking children starving in fucking Africa and in the fucking South America and in fucking Southeast Asia, and people are buying fucking virtual nothing for $20 million fucking dollars, man.
I'll give you something
level of outrage.
I'll give you something that this is not quite as bad as that, but this is still going to make you just as enraged.
Oh, I got another one for you.
I found this out on Savvy's show, which, by the way, I will be going on Savvy's show Friday. Make sure you guys check that out, Savvy Saturday. Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks and billionaire from the Shark Tank.
I already know.
He bought a town.
A town.
He bought a town.
In the metaverse.
No, a real town.
Oh.
Yeah. Real town.
I hope he's eating all the I hope he's putting all the homeless.
Is that Westworld shit?
Well, that's the thing about it. He owns the town, so who knows what the hell he might do with it?
Jesus.
I'm with you, Glory. Fuck the Mavs. Exactly. Who knows what the hell he can? He said, "This is what he said." I couldn't pass up. I couldn't pass it up. The deal was such a good deal, and I don't even know what I'm going to do with it.
Look, but that's why they buy NBA teams. They're bored.
But this harkens back to, didn't we talk about Vanguard? Didn't we talk about BlackRock? Haven't we talked about Berkshire Hathaway? Haven't we talked about some of these huge investment groups and then buying up shitloads of land?
Look, ShadowBanned, let me blow your mind again. My uncle is cool with all the techie nerds and tech geeks from school and things like that, and even his engineer friends. This one friend he had spent $250,000 on an NFT.
I know the NFT craze, because
he doesn't own it.
As I fucking dipped in and then dipped out very quickly of crypto markets, it was right when
one Doncopter.
The Doncopter.
I regret nothing. For
69 Ethereum.
I would do it again. I'm a weak person.
Maybe we can get one of those fucks to fucking buy it. But dog, the NFT it's pure tulip mania, right? Are you familiar with tulip mania, Jalen?
No, I'm not. Enlighten me.
Okay, so back in 16 something or 15 something, people were buying tulips.
Of course, they had to sell for 69.
For 69.
You said right or ride? I got confused. I didn't hear you.
I was going to donate all the money to Reverend Annie Chambers and make sure that Ian Schlackman got it and literally feed all the Baltimore.
Yeah.
Hey, Glory, we don't like the Dolans. Look, as a Knicks fan,
100%, all of it.
Hate the Dolans. Oh yeah, I see you. You might.
I hate them for so many. You know what? I hate damn near all of these owners. It doesn't even not just NBA. Oh, she said many sports teams owner. Yes. I 150,000% agree.
Yeah. But okay, so in I think it was back in 1600 something, people were buying tulips so fucking much that the value of fucking tulips in weight was actually more than the fucking value of gold, right? So the more the fucking people bought tulips, the more people started investing in tulips and buying more tulips. And not only that, people started investing in the futures of fucking tulips.
And they sold their gold.
And they sold their gold for fucking tulips. Flowers. Tulips.
Wow.
What ended up happening is that was a bubble. It burst.
That was the first great reset that I can remember.
The first great reset, because it fucking destroyed the world economy when the price of fucking tulips crashed, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Fucking
so that'd be an example of how they did it in the markets.
So anytime that I fucking say this is tulip mania, that's what I'm referring to. This is not fucking real. It's all fucking fake.
Sorry, ShadowBanned.
I did not know that. Glazers own Manchester United. Whoa! I did not know that.
Saudi princes. You know, Glory Jones.
What are you talking about football for? Chelsea Football Club.
We used to hate. It's funny. Wait, so Glory Jones, let me ask you a question. You can put it back in the chat. Would you say, since it seems like you're more informed with FIFA owners, would you say that FIFA owners are worse than the NFL owners? I mean, I know you can't really have a worse, but would you say that they're even more dickheads than NFL owners, especially Jerry Jones?
That's a good question.
We'll just wait for him to get it in the chat. I really actually want to know the answer to this.
They're all fucking Satan.
Oh, of course. Look at
I'll be quiet.
who was the Clippers owner?
You're talking about what was his name?
Donald Sterling.
Don Sterling.
It wasn't just 2014. He had a career of saying, "Don't bring nigger monkeys to my games." But all the money and profit. Look, he had Lamar Odom. He's had Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Jamal Crawford. They left, but Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, a multitude of Elton Brand for people that remember him. For all these black all-stars, and you're saying don't bring monkeys, but you drafted him.
But he just got caught. That's all. Majority of the owners think that way.
Of course.
Majority of them think that way.
You hear it in one part, they're all saying that.
Well, they still think that they have the right to own black men in sports.
Yep.
What does that fucking tell you?
Think about it, ShadowBanned. It's just like
it just sounds like super high priced slavery.
That's all it is. It's just they act like they're so above
Yeah,
it.
let's put a button in that. We don't go all the way off into another.
We'll go into that.
We're going to another time.
We'll be saving that rabbit hole for another
I
occasion.
might even need to, see if I can. I'm gonna talk. I got stuff to talk to y'all.
Can we jump?
I'll just leave it at that. But we got another topic. We got to get into our other topic.
Okay, so. Okay. I would actually, with this, I want to go with you guys to hear your experiences with military recruitment, so then I can give you guys the freshest recruiting styles that what they did recently the past year.
Great idea.
I'm only a few months. I'm only 7 months removed from high school, so I want to hear you guys' stories with recruiters, and then I'll get into mine.
Okay, so I'll pop off here to begin.
And then I'll go second because Marcus, we know yours is probably going to be a story I really want people to hear.
Exactly.
Yeah. So my high school was ROTC, MCJROTC.
Wait, were you a public school?
Yes, sir.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. So of course, do you think I look like a fucking private school kid?
No, I went to.
I'm fucking pure white trash, bro.
I give you more credit, man. I give you more credit.
Yeah, so there was a lot of fucking pride of like the whole, like there's like the branches of the military. The Corps is one of the most prideful fucking branches, right? And the sergeant major that ran JROTC, highly decorated Vietnam veteran, was also in Desert Storm. And he was a fucking hard ass. I was put into ROTC for exactly 15 minutes until I told the fucking sergeant major to shove it up his ass. I needless to say, it didn't take me long to get kicked out of JRTC. This was as a freshman in high school. I was already drug using too by then. But
same.
That's another story.
So I mean, and let me be very fucking clear about this. I graduated high school in 2008. The implosion of the fucking world economy. Nobody had any hope. So everyone wanted to go to the fucking military just so they could fucking make it, right? And so this is also in the fucking time of fucking Obama. This is the fucking surge of fucking Afghanistan. I enlisted in very shortly after high school because I got in trouble with the law. I was in a very toxic relationship with another human being.
Happened to two friends of mine.
Yeah. And so I enlisted in the Army. Not the Marine Corps, because the Army would actually take me with the things that were on my record, whereas the Marine Corps would not. I was assigned to the 133rd Airborne Division. I looked to find what was the only fucking airborne combat unit still in service in Afghanistan, and I picked that because as I told the fucking the recruiter, I want to jump out of fucking planes and possibly helicopters and maybe shoot some people along the way. I got arrested 2 weeks before I was supposed to ship out to boot. And that never materialized. But when Yeah, I was most definitely. I was. If I would have nurtured that side of myself, I would have been a fucking monster. Because one of the guys that I enlisted with, he went out to Afghanistan as a generator tech, and he came back a hateful, extremely racist man.
Marcus, you can attest to that.
Yeah, right. And so, like,
it's open. Like that's what people don't understand.
I'll weigh in last on what he's saying.
But, like, so the recruiting of my generation was at the height of the Iraq War, and also
right after
at
9/11
the surge. Well, no, that was so my high school experience was 2004 to 2008, right? And so we're talking surge 1 and 2 of Iraq, and also surge 1 of Afghanistan, right? And so that was my whole experience, and everyone and their fucking mother wanted to fucking go and fight the fucking what did they call them? Call them skinnies. They called them fucking ragheads, all kinds of shit like that. Because a lot of these guys, you got to think their fucking dad or their fucking older brother or their uncle or someone was in Desert Storm, Somalia. So they grew up hearing the stories. And
about Gulf War syndrome.
Yeah. And also don't fucking forget the rise of, this was fucking the beginning of like the Call of Duty fucking military industrial complex, right? Everyone was playing Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, and all the way up to 5. Remember World at War?
They co-opted Deus Ex because they got so much truth out going after UNESCO.
Yes. So like, oh yeah, SOCOM, yeah, fucking Battlefield, right? Like all these fucking video games were this was at the beginning, the inception of the fucking of the train fucking children with this to go do this, right? And so it was a very fucking big deal to try and go and fucking join the military. Couple that with economic fucking disaster of 2008, and fucking dude, even fucking people's parents were fucking losing their fucking pads, much less fucking trying to enter the fucking job market in 2008.
Yeah.
Yo, it was fucking hellacious. And, you know, being in a fucking suburb of Albuquerque, there was a lot of fucking, like, I don't know, the wannabe rich fucking white people that thought because they lived in a suburb they were fucking rich or some shit like that, and they had that sense of duty, right?
They want to be slaveholders,
right? They want, well, not only that, it was a sense of duty to country, right? God and country, king and country.
Oh, all that horseshit too, yeah.
Yeah, and so there was that sense of that. There was that sense, but also remember, this is when military movies really started to become big. I grew up with Saving Private Ryan. I grew up with Black Hawk Down. Right, like I grew up with all the Jarhead and all these other fucking movies were coming out, and everyone fucking got all fucking hyped up because it was in the fucking pop culture PopCon, right? And pop culture was no longer anti-war. Pop culture was patriotic duty, right? Mm-hmm. So this was, and this is post 9/11 world. So this was a very fucking those 8 years from 2001 to 2009. When I enlisted, those were the most fucking like hyper fucking changing fucking years of the youngest population being indoctrinated into believing that we must go and fight for our fucking country. We have to go kill them over there so they don't come over here and kill us over here.
And it was justified.
Yeah, and it was all justified, right? Because 9/11 and fucking weapons of mass destruction and all that shit. So like my shit.
The terrorists being a big thing when I was a kid. You were supposed to be afraid of them. But continue.
Yeah, but like the recruiters were in my high school, right? And like they had their fucking recruitment fairs and all that shit and job fairs, but they didn't even need to fucking be there, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was pop culture. Pop culture was go and serve your fucking country. Go and fucking carry that fucking flag. Yeah. Oh, dog. And fucking that was another thing, is that there was that sense of competition, is that we couldn't compete economically because we were fucking entering in 2008. So when you fucking found out that you could compete on your fucking ASVABs and your AFQT, people got real into that shit, dude.
Which are just like, Jalen, to explain them, they're like kind of like standardized tests, but they're much more
No,
basic.
I know. We had the ASVAB when I was in school.
Oh, you did? All right, cool,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I wasn't so sure if they were doing this shit.
No,
Dog, I had to tutor this guy, Charles Harder.
You know exactly what I'm talking about then, yeah.
Yeah, I had to tutor him so that he could just pass his AFQT.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Dog, he couldn't get that 33 score for the Army. Like, he was that fucking, like, simple, right? But, like, this is also along the fucking the reinvention of the rebel flag. There was a lot of those fucking people, right? The reimagining of the Confederate States of America, and there was, like, I didn't grow up in the South, right? I grew up in fucking New Mexico, where, like, the Confederate States tried to fucking come here and they got their asses handed to them twice. And so, like, it was a weird fucking time. Like, it was those, my high school experience was at the time of reinvention of American culture. So, like, military recruitment was not even necessary because we all wanted to fucking go and enlist.
And that's the way all this stuff works, is they want you to not only build your own prison, but brag about it.
Yeah.
So this was between 04 and 08?
Yeah. So I was in high school from 04 to 08. I graduated when I was 17 in 2008.
Okay.
And
I was right in that area too.
For those of us that remember 2008, that was a scary fucking time, dude. Everyone's parents was losing their fucking jobs. Going to college for what? Right?
I had to, like, study my ass off, and I was using then. So I had to deal with not only my addiction, but I had to make perfect grades to maintain my scholarship, or else my ass wasn't going to school.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to work. And
well, why the fuck go to school?
My mom was a
yeah.
My mom was a CEO when I was very young. I was only 6. But it seemed like when I was a kid, it seemed like more of a time of promise because, you know, in the black community, it was Obama coming. So I remember my mom, like, screaming and shouting, crying, calling everyone when he got elected. Like, it was some radical change. But
and that's what it felt like. It felt like that to everyone.
But little did I know there was a whole disaster going on. But it didn't really hit us. Because
I remember Beyonce going and fucking singing "At Last" and Etta James being all fucking pissed at it.
But like I said, like you were speaking of the disaster in pop culture and America being reimagined, I had no idea it was going on. As my mom was the CEO, so maybe I wouldn't remember the direct effects as if she was just a regular person who got laid off. So for us, it seemed like it was a time of change. My mom had a job, like maybe she wasn't making the most money, but she did have a job as a CEO. And being black, it was, we have a black president, things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
But Jack, Jack, I think it's your turn now, right?
Yeah. So I grew up just all around the South. I had my accent trained out of me, but it'll come out when I'm either really happy or really pissed off. So it's kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But I grew up around base. I allegedly would take people to like I was telling you, PT in the morning, 5 in the morning, and then I'd get that call afterwards, and then tell me that they didn't make it. Like essentially, if you don't show up for PT, like you don't go running in the morning with everyone after your friends went through hell to get you to base. But that's like, I was fortunate because that's when I really got to really understand other people. And what I mean by that is, like, my best friend at the time was someone I would not have met if he hadn't have done and made that decision, because he was from Haiti. You know, like his origin story of how he got to where he got is nuts, man. Like I can't even tell it because it's just it's that crazy. But him and I became friends, and he kind of showed me not just the veil of racism, but the fact that if you don't let it bother you and you reflect it back on them and you be extra kind to them, the more that they do what they do, you don't, and you refuse to give into that anger that they want to inspire in you because it pisses them off. They're only looking for a reaction because they're insecure. And once you show me that, like, it didn't bother me as much, because then I realized that they're living the sad life, you know? But when I bring up the military in that context, my friends warned me that it was kind of like an institutionalized version of that, and that you were becoming property of the government. And they warned me, and they said, you keep your ass away from this shit, because if you get caught up in this, you're not going to do what you're probably wanting to do in life. And I have friends that are career. So friends that are like 10 plus years and they're doing fine. But I have some friends that are still suffering with PTSD to this day. And that's when I got introduced to trauma, was that.
Were the recruiters heavy on your school, talking to
Oh
kids?
yeah, every day.
So where were you going to high school in?
I was going to high school like around like Tennessee, like around that area, and I was just going to public schools. So they would have recruiters in the like lobbies in the mornings.
So 04 to 08 is the same time range, right?
Around, so like it was kind of like mid to early 2000s. It was like I was a little bit before you, Shadow. So it was like right 9/11 was happening right when I was about eligible to be recruited. So it was like right around that time frame.
So around 01, 2000 is when you graduated high school.
Yeah, like right around that area, man.
Okay, so
I was on an accelerated path, so it's kind of weird with me. Like I was, they essentially, this is a kind of funny story, real quick. They put me in what they called they said I had a learning disability, so they put me in, had me ride the short bus, did all this, and really like they'd never understood me, and it's because I was frustrated because the teachers weren't teaching me anything I didn't already know. My parents were active in my education and inspired me. My mom would read to me every night and would show me that books were like the way to find freedom and spirituality. Like we discussed spirituality growing up as a very much detached from religion. Even though they exposed me to religion, they always told me like everyone's full of some truth and everyone's full of some bullshit. You got to make up your mind for yourself. So
exactly.
But that ended up being a problem in my teens because when I rebelled against them, which if you rebel against something that's trying to promote truth in your life, you're going to bring destructive forces in.
Very true. So, so since you were going around 9/11 time, would you say, especially after that, the recruitment became even heavier?
Even heavier to the fact to where it was allowable. Huh?
So I'm saying, so what ShadowBanned mentioned about patriotic duty. So would you say it was more of the same, especially right after the Twin Tower attack?
It was so bad that I remember having to shield friends because they were Hindu and people didn't know the difference between Sikhs and Hindus and Muslims. And they would literally be shouting some shit and I'd have to go stand in front of them. Our temples would get graffiti all the time, both temples. So to Hindu, like the groups, what I noticed is that's when we all kind of saw like, hey, we really need to all stand up for each other back then. But there wasn't a lot of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was really bad for a lot of people back then. That's kind of glossed over a lot. Like I've always noticed that.
All right, Marcus, what you got?
Well, my story would be a little bit different, I guess, because I'm a tad bit older. Especially, I was kind of more geared towards the military.
Marcus.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to expose you like this, but what time periods were you in high school?
I was in high school from 95 to 99.
Okay. Wait, you're 1980?
No, 1995.
No, I'm saying you're born in 1980, right?
No, 81.
80. Wait, so you're the same. So if you're in the same, my dad graduated in 98. Did you start high school later?
No. But
because you know what it is. My dad was up north.
It all back in those days. It all depended on when your birthday fell. Because some kids would start school at a certain time, some kids would start a little bit later. So it was like, I want to say your dad's birthday is like. Was he born in 80 or 81?
81. But you know what it is, Marcus? Up north, they start
He might have skipped a year also.
But up north, they start you earlier because most people up north graduate at 17. Where in the south, you graduate usually at 18.
Well, I went to school in the Midwest. But
okay, got you.
Yeah, I was in Kansas City where I graduated. So
95 to 99.
Yeah, 95 to 99 was my. I was a Boy Scout as a kid, and then I came from a family with a lot of military in my family already.
Same here.
And I had an uncle who was active duty most of my. Pretty much, he retired like right at the point a year before I graduated high school, and so I focus mostly on sports, even though I did Boy Scouts and all that, and then at a certain point, I said I got out right before getting to some of those. Well, what I did it maybe 3 or 4 years, and then when I got into high school, I was Air Force Junior ROTC, and so I actually moved up. Pretty high in my Air Force Junior ROTC because my uncle was Air Force Major at the time.
Were you like an E1 or E2 or?
No, when I went in as an E3.
Wow. Okay.
So I was I was cadet lieutenant colonel. In my program, I was at the time I was the highest decorated in my ROTC program. It was a new program, so I was in the first class of people who went all 4 years. And so I led color guard, drill team, all kind of stuff like that. And even though I was doing that and band and everything, I was a kid who was always busy. My mom kept us in a lot of stuff because we grew up in bad neighborhoods. So she figured that's a way to keep us off the streets is if we just stayed busy all the time. And so if I wasn't playing sports, I was, some kind. I mean, I even did acting and drama in school also.
Me too.
And I did.
What horrible play did you do?
I've done so many. The play that sticks out the most in my head because I had to do most of this play improv was Our American Cousin. Which, for people who don't know, Our American Cousin is the play which Abraham Lincoln was watching when he got assassinated. Yeah.
Hey, Marcus, did you ever have to do any musicals?
Didn't do musicals.
Oh, you
Me neither.
Well, I did lighting. I did lighting and building the set for Little Shop of Horrors.
Have you guys ever?
I was the
Little Shop of Horrors.
What do you call the stand-in? The stand-in, like you read up on the same script that one of the characters does. I was always that person, so I could always. I had to learn the characters just so that if they needed me or if they got hurt, like I could go in for them.
Have you guys ever?
You were a stand-in.
Yeah.
Our American Cousin. I literally had to. That was one of the first times I actually started practicing doing like European accents. I started. I had to do a British accent.
Wow, that's hard.
I got actually, and believe it or not, like if I just did it on the fly, it wouldn't be very good. My method of doing it was I have to read something. So if you give me something and I just read it and read it and read it, it'll get to a point where then it'll lock in. So like I'll literally read something for like a couple of hours in the accent till I got it straight.
That's
and
smart.
Believe it or not, I used that when I went to London, was able to actually fool actual British citizens. So,
So have you guys heard of the musical 13?
No.
So it's this musical we do. Basically, it's about a bunch of like preteen high school kids. In my middle school, I did it's called Thespians, and we ran plays for the school. And I ended up I liked music, so I auditioned singing a Sanchez song. I don't for all my reggae music lovers out there. That I can't wait till the morning comes. I sang that for my audition, and I had the lead role in the musical, but I ended up tearing my groin, so I couldn't act.
Oh.
But so I guess we're all. But Marcus, continue.
Yeah. The other plays I did were like. Literally, it's kind of ironic. One of my friends, Timothy Adams, he still does this to this day. He like puts on plays in Kansas City, and like he's kind of moved up a little bit. So he kind of, that's what he does for a living. And so like he wrote a couple of plays, and some of them had to do with spirituality and stuff like that. I played like 6 different people.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I had to keep switching.
Marcus was a black all-star.
Man, that's some Peter Sellers shit, dude.
I literally played this one kid's best friend who was going to get shot by these gang members.
Oh, wow.
I played a couple of the gang members who met up with him to shoot him.
Oh wow!
Damn.
I played a pastor in that play.
That's a plot
I
twist.
played. They had like a Jerry Springer kind of part. I played like this one guy was cheating on his girl with a
Oh
guy,
wow!
and I was that
I was just gonna say,
guy's
I always plays the
side
husband.
piece.
And this was a
I always played the husband. That's hilarious.
So yeah, I played and so it was like run off stage, change
I
this,
used to
and
go out
drink,
drinking
and
with a
everything
person
else.
that did your role.
So Marcus, you said that you were kind of pushed towards this path. So did it?
Well, what pushed me towards the path of going military ultimately and making military my main thing? Because I, I I wanted to do the sports thing. Football was my main kind of thing, which I leaned towards. Of course, I loved basketball playing it, but I was like, "There's no way I'm ever gonna really do anything with basketball."
Yeah.
But football, I was really athletic, really fast and everything. So I was like, football is the angle that I want to go. Hold on one second.
Well, I can say as for
All right.
there you
Okay. So I started having injuries quite a bit, and because when it came to my studies, I really didn't give a shit about school that much. I mean, I just literally just did enough to get by. And so I figured I'll get to college. I'll be able to use my athletic ability to kind of get me through college for the most part. And if I don't make it to the pros or anything, at least I'll get my shit together when I get to college. Well, that didn't really happen. So I'm like, okay, what the fuck can I do? And at the time when I was in high school, when I started, I was always kind of into politics and stuff because my family was interested in politics on the Democratic side. Like my first memories were back to Michael Dukakis running for president. So, yes,
That guy was such a fucking clown.
He got smacked. He got smacked though.
and I hated Reagan and all that shit like that. But you know,
I mean, we all
um,
hate Reagan. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
what I but my uncle, because like he did some cool shit when he was in the military. My uncle was a major in security forces, and at the time we didn't know exactly what he was doing, but now I know it and I can talk about it. He was one of the top people who did security on keeping the stealth bomber project secret. And so he literally followed it from Whiteman Air Force Base to Incirlik, Turkey, and back to Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. And so that provided for us to travel around and see a whole lot of stuff. So I always felt like, well, military, that's not a bad option. Plus, in my school, at that time period in the 90s, you had a lot of slaughter going on with Milosevic. Milosevic was slaughtering ethnic Albanians and
What
people
about
in Kosovo.
What about the
And
Bosnians?
so I had a lot of friends who I had a lot of friends who was just they were refugees. And so it gave me a different, I guess, aspect to look at it. Like, damn, they're it's shitty what's going on with them. So I wanted to be able to help. So that sat in the back of my mind with, okay, I'm not going to be able to do the sports thing. And then I know I can go to the military and be able to make banks. And then I was already Air Force ROTC at the same time. So it kind of, with all these things were leaning me towards that angle. And I was going to go Air Force just like my uncle, but the Air Force recruiter was like, you never hardly around. But Navy, on the other hand, those motherfuckers were all over the school. And they would be like, "Oh, well, hey, well, we can come to your house. Well, we can meet you here, and we can pick you up, and we can, wherever you want to be, we can meet you." And so, like, when I was still trying to make my decision, they were like literally taking me to the mall with them and shit like that. Like, I walk around with them. They were talking to me about, "Oh man, you can travel, man. You're gonna be able to do this, and you're gonna see all these different places." And they really like told me all this good shit that you would experience. You're gonna have college money. At that time, they were like, you'll have 17,000 for college. Back then, 17,000 was enough for a 4-year degree. Of course, that changed.
Now you probably need about 50,000.
Well, while I was in, they would increase the amount. They would keep increasing the amount to make it fit. And so, when I finally made that decision to go on ahead and do it, because of my 4 years ROTC and Boy Scouts and all that stuff like that I had in my background, they made me what was it? Delayed entry program commander. So since I signed my paperwork to go, and I didn't go until like a couple of months after I graduated, they decided, well, we'll just put you in charge. So when they were taking me around to, when they were going to like the mall to meet up with kids and stuff, I would literally go with them and was kind of like, hey, well, guys, I'm joining. I've already signed my paperwork. Why don't you guys go on too? Here's some of the cool things they told me. And so they kind of used me to help recruit other kids.
Wow.
No, I didn't realize that I was being used and manipulated. But that's kind of what they did. That's how the recruiters got.
Bullshit.
You know, they had complete and total access to everything. They would be literally at our basketball games. They would be at everything. I could show you ROTC pictures where the Navy recruiters are at my ROTC shit with me, like giving me like some kind of medal or whatever. And you know, that's how pervasive that they were. They were literally, it didn't matter what class you had, it didn't matter where you were at, they were everywhere. And I guess one of you guys got an echo, but they were literally everywhere. And because that they were everywhere, it made them seem almost as if it was natural that they were there. Like you didn't think anything about it. I got the spammers back. But they were everywhere, and so nobody even thought anything about it. They just thought that it was normal to have these recruiters there. And at that time, a lot of kids didn't even know about what was going on with what was going on in Bosnia and Kosovo. And so it was looked at as, hey, we can just get some college money and it's no big deal, you know, go in, do 4 years or whatever. And at the time I went in, they were still like people who had certain crimes. They would tell them, hey, well, you got an 8-year sentence. Either you do your 8 years in prison or you take 4 years in the military. And so I knew people who that's the only reason why they were in the military, because they got forced into it. And I remember watching at the times when I was like, about the time when I was getting out, they literally started boosting the age, because before it would be certain job fields. If you were, say, over 26, you couldn't go into this field. They started lifting the cap off of these because they were having trouble getting people in, because at the height of while I was in the military, it was going into after 9/11 and all that stuff. Like I talked about it on the episode. I had Shadow on and I had Jalen on with me, but I was at my first command and in Sicily when the whole towers thing went down.
Damn,
and
man.
So for me, after doing all the like I talked to Jack about the whole marksmanship schools and all that stuff, and at that time I just thought it was cool to go do a whole bunch of shooting and all that. But you don't think about at that time when you're asked to do all that stuff, eventually you're going to be asked to do that stuff. And so that started with like 9/11. They literally was like, here's a gun, go hop up on the roof. You're on sniper watch. And so that's kind of the recruiters didn't at any point ever even put in a frame of reference to me that a possible war could break out. I literally thought, oh, well, I'm going over here. I'm doing some of this relief work. I'm helping people in Bosnia and Kosovo. We're clearing minefields so they can rebuild up housing. And I'm thinking of it solely from we're a force for good. It took, later on when I started realizing we're not really the force for good that I thought we were. Once I start seeing the stuff that which went on in Afghanistan and Iraq and some other countries I can't mention. But some of the things I saw firsthand, I realized these recruiters are lying their asses off to a lot of people. Like I knew people who, what I remember in boot camp, they wanted to get out, and they don't tell you that within a certain amount of time, you could just come to them and be like, "Yo, I want to get out," and they have to let you out. But they don't tell you that. Most people don't find that out until like 6 months later. It's like if you come up to them within the first 90 days, they have to let you out. I don't know if that's still the law, but yeah, but they don't tell you that. And it might be in your contract, but that experience of signing it.
That's why they do multi-year contracts, though.
But you literally are you're taking a 17, 18-year-old kid and having them sit down and sign papers for like 7 hours straight.
Wow.
That's what it was. And you start seeing can be punishable by life imprisonment or death, or death, or death, or death. Over. I signed so much paperwork that I literally changed my signature that very day because I was like, I'm getting my fucking hands tired. And so before I used to cursively write out my name, and then it went to the fucking like scribble that I do now because of how much fucking paperwork I did. And then after that, you just think, oh, well, it's cool. I'm getting all this Navy gear and all that until you start realizing that, oh, well, they lied about this. Or this guy who they told, oh, I'm going to get you in. You're going to go into the legal field and we'll just give you some money if you go in undesignated. And then some of those guys sit there undesignated for 4 years. And then when they're getting ready to get out, they're like, oh, we'll send you to legalman school now. And so I learned that the recruiters, they lie. And they lie a lot. And the reason why is they have quota numbers that they have to reach to get you in. They got to get a certain amount of people. Yeah.
I was promised a $30,000 signing bonus.
I was going to say a pony, but
$30,000. What they didn't tell me, though, is, and I found this out from some of the people that enlisted at the time that I did, that $30,000 is spread out over fucking 20 years.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I gotta make sure to say, hey, we got a friend of the show in the building. I just saw her creep in. Lucky Burrito. Hey, how you doing? Glad to see you here. And yes, we're still going at it, but we're getting towards the end right now. But and one of these times we're gonna have to have Lucky Burrito on here also.
Are you guys ready for my experience?
Yes, sure. Yeah. We're ready to hear yours now.
A little bit of a background. My mom's sister's husband, my uncle, he was in the army. So this was around, we were kids then. So this was around the Iraq War, post 9/11. We're born. I think his oldest daughter, my eldest cousin, is born in '99. So we're post and like right before 9/11 babies. So that's when he went into the army. So I remember him being gone a lot because he was in Iraq. And they were stationed in Germany for 10 years before they came back to the States and went to Texas and Oklahoma. So I already had a family member in the army. But my mom was gonna go to the Marines, but she decided not to because my older brother was younger then, and she didn't want to be away from him. But my mom worked in corrections. Her sister worked in corrections. My other aunt was a cop in the field. So I grew up around people who were in either the armed forces or, the police, who were in the police system. So it was always some type of thing, but that was never anything I wanted to do. I was always into sports and music and whatever else. I thought that was kind of just boring. But, my father would always say, don't say thank you to veterans on Veterans Day. And So everyone always used to look at me, oh, you're disrespectful. Oh, how could you not say thank you to a veteran? But my father always told me they don't keep you safe. They're contract killers. So he was like, don't ever think they're above you or you got to give them some special privilege because they're not. They're just regular people who signed up for a job to kill people. Maybe not they're all killing people. That's generalizing it. But that you get the gist of what I'm saying. And everybody tries to, well, I'll jump into that after. So with that being said, that was my background. So around my junior, senior year, junior year kind of got cut short because of COVID. But especially in the latter part of my senior year, which was 2021. I graduated in May. They were coming like every 2 weeks, and they would give out cups. Like whoever did the most push-ups, if you did like 50 or 100 push-ups, you would get a cup. And so my friends were like, "You should just try it, see if you could do it." I was like, "Okay." So I went over there and I said, I'm not interested in whatever the hell you guys are doing, but I will do the push-ups for a cup. I did 100 in the push-ups. I got the cup. They were like, oh, wow, you're pretty strong. You look good in this gear. I was like, no, I wouldn't. I was like, I look better in a Nike sweatsuit. But my whole thought process was around, it's kind of whack. And then my uncle was going away from his family, and you could feel the strain, you know, not saying that he's a bad father, but you feel it in the household when your father is gone. He was also stationed in Louisiana for 3 years, and they lived in Atlanta. He was gone. So you feel those strains. And not only that, as I learned, and I really started making the turn into seeing what was going on and being involved when I started research. I wrote a 1,000-word essay on Malcolm X in 8th grade.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I had a teacher who was into like Russian culture. He was a Vladimir Putin guy. Not to say that I supported it, but it was also giving me different taste on different cultures and different things. He listened to Russian music, and I started getting involved in world issues. So especially when I started researching the Army, I was really into World War II. And I remember D-Day and all those certain things.
I went through the same phase too, yeah.
But I never thought they were cool. I was just interested in what was going on in that time. I was more of a history nerd rather than a patriotic person. And another thing is, I used to have people who served in the Army would see me because I talk a lot, but it's just a force of habit rather than me wanting to talk all the time. There's a lot of times when I get really quiet and secluded, and everyone's like, why are you so quiet? I just try to talking. So I ran into this guy, my friend and I.
Me, man.
Yeah, who was exactly. We're introverted extroverts. That's what I said.
Yeah.
So this guy in the Army was trying to recruit me and my friend. He was already retired. He was saying how his son's going through it and benefits. He was like, you probably won't do it. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But you...
Hey, Wesley.
Oh, good night, Wesley. Thanks for joining us, man. So he was trying to tell us the benefits and all these different things. And I had a lot of friends who are going into the Army now who did it for benefits, Coast Guard, things like that. Oh, well, the benefits. Oh, I have money, this. Oh, well, I'm not going to be directly killing people.
Hey, Jay, hold that one second. I wanted to read Lucky's comment real quick. It says, I was a military brat. I grew up so proud and then learned the truth. I want to be proud of our country like I was as a kid with my hand over my heart, watching the flag lower with taps from the trumpet or on trumpet, which I know. I used to know how to play tap.
First song. I was just going to say it's the first song that I ever learned.
It was every night at sunset when I lived in the Governor's Island as a kid. Yeah, I know what that's like.
Had military funerals. Yeah, so I was like used to taps.
I like I told you, I did color guard also. But my uncle on the bases, when I go on base, I would used to see that. But sorry about that, Jay. Go ahead.
It's all good. So, where did I leave off? Yeah, so the guy was trying to tell me all these different things, and a lot of people would tell me the Army, and a lot of friends went for benefits. But then I also noticed why a lot of people were joining the Army. So I was always told to be think outside the box. Whether I was doing something with school, my father, my mother, everybody always told me outside the box. And a lot of my friends who didn't do well in school were simpletons. Not to insult them, but they felt like their only other option, just because they didn't do well in school, was the Army, and the benefits, things like that. But I was told to think outside the box. My grandmother wouldn't allow me to say can't. So I never wanted to go. A lot of my friends I felt were settling, and I graduated with a 4.6 GPA, and unweighted was a 3.5, 3.6 around there. So
I'm getting chills, man. It's like seeing myself like when I was younger, but like way ahead of where I was back then, man. Like you got it way ahead. Like I was thinking everyone was clowns around me because I was like, they're just rationalizing their decisions is all they're doing.
Exactly, some insane decisions. So you're signing a deal with the devil for the rest of your young years to serve these people. And I always thought like you're just signing away your rights. And thank you, Wesley. I appreciate it.
We love you too, man.
So,
I was going to say real quick, for those who are new tuning in, I forgot to do this. Yeah, part of what we love about this show is our diversity in audience and all the different perspectives and things that Wesley brings up. I mean, so many things which, that adds a lot to our discussion because, shit, who knows? If we can, we'll get Wesley or somebody who at least thinks like Wesley on there so we can have that elder, cool-ass personality to help round it out. So.
Yeah, I was taught you got to listen to your elders. Like that
I need to bring in some of my young guns. I think that's what I need to do. I think I need to bring in a few of my peers so then you could get somebody speaking from my time space, but in a different perspective. So
thanks, Lucky.
Thank you, Lucky. I really appreciate it. We do this.
Lucky.
We're just trying to share.
Steve in the building. What's up, Steve?
Oh, what's going on, Steve?
Stever.
No, Lucky, we're all trying to just figure out the answers to this crazy world.
Right?
So
that's really all it is. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
So, for instance, funny story. I actually got my mom. I got a phone call home by my homeroom teacher. He was a jerk. He used to. We're not even going to talk about my math teacher, but he called my mom because I didn't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and you're not required to stand. He called my mom because in homeroom I was talking to my friends and we were all sitting for the pledge. And I was never that patriotic kid. And I remember like back then, people would tell me, oh, you got to vote for George Bush. Oh,
you weren't the only one, Glory.
Exactly. So I was always told you had to vote for George Bush in the Army. I mean, not George Bush, John McCain and Sarah Palin in the Army because they were going to do the best against terrorists. Obama wasn't going to go get the terrorists. But again, I said I was from, like you, Marcus, a Democratic African-American family where Democrats were the saviors. Obviously, by the time I was like 12, I knew they weren't. But, that was just...
I'll say one thing, though, Jalen. One thing which you have as a little bit of as an advantage is the mask hadn't been completely as ripped off. Like at the point when I was probably like, I honestly thought Bill Clinton was a good president when I was your age. It took years to be able to, because there was nobody out there who was talking about all the other stuff that was really going on. And also, so we were just told about the economy was good and this and that. Like I tell people, no lie, I was an Obama volunteer. So I hear people act like I'm this kind of crazy radical leftist or whatever. It's like, dude, I used to phone bank for Obama.
It's okay. It's a trap. We stuck it.
And what happened is I started to see, and started to look at foreign policy a lot more, especially 2010. That fucking changed everything. By 2010, I was already like, all right, fuck this. And so I was like, let's give Bernie. I'm gonna give this guy a chance. He's always been talking good shit all these years.
Mr. President, at a time where the mass amount of people are living paycheck to paycheck, we're giving billionaires tax breaks.
Shadow Bernie.
Yeah,
exactly. I'll give it back to you, Jay. But right here, what Wesley says, Clinton was our blessed relief from Reagan. Exactly. We were focused on how horrible Reagan was.
Push one.
I love that song by Killer Mike.
You don't really feel the true effects of these crooked policies that these presidents. Sorry to jump off topic, but just made me think of something. You really don't feel the effects of these policies till 8 years, maybe like 2 terms after.
That's economics 101. 100%. You never actually see economic effects until about 8 to 12 years later.
And they call
But
it
they took it
appropriations
down.
bills. They set
Yes.
aside the funding ahead of time so that it's all
What's
planned,
going
man.
on
The
in
more
the
we
thing?
dig into the nailed it.
Orale!
Yeah, we got Independent in the
What's up,
building.
Nila?
But
Oh,
Mark,
shout out to Independent. Independent puts our name out there and gives us a lot of props out there with a lot of big names, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
So,
Yes, you're
Marcus,
much
you said like the
appreciated.
advantage of being screwed over. So, I always like around the time I hated any. I think
Mad
around
Marcus.
Clinton was our first. Yep, my mom used to
You
tell
just had
me.
to play a saxophone.
Slick
Yeah, my
Willie,
mom-
the first black president.
See, of
Mhm.
course he's black. He got caught cheating in the White House. That's the most black thing you could do, right? So, again, my mom used to
You
tell me.
said that me.
My mom used to say Bill Clinton was a good president. I mean, we found that to not be true, but the crime bill speaks for itself. So all her friends that got
Right.
locked up during that time, you can blame your favorite president. But
And
anyway,
Bernie signed that shit. When I found that out,
Exactly.
that blew my mind.
Oh
but
yeah, let me
Yo.
do this little. Sorry, another shameless plug. Independent says looking forward to seeing you on this weekend. As the student debt boycott marathon with Blue Moon Red Wine. Yes, I will be on this weekend with Blue Moon Red Wine. I will be doing some moderating. And make sure you guys. I got to remember his last name. Steve's petition out there. I will be plugging that, so make sure you guys tune in and catch that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I've been wanting to get on Lucy's show for a while, so shout out to her. If you guys are not familiar with their channel, Blue Moon Red Wine, go and check it out. The same with Lucky Burrito, the same with Independent Left News, and love to all my. Oh yeah, I forgot. Slow News Day. Got Glory Jones in the building. Make sure to give them a follow and a shout out also. So give all
That's
of them
the
some
anime
love.
buddy right there.
I follow them on Twitter. Shout out. But like you
Logo's
said,
mad
like,
deep with me on
advantages by 2020. I made such a radical change. I was 17 talking about we need socialism, we need all these different things. And it's funny. 2 months later, I was like, we don't need any of this. So I made that shift.
Yeah.
As a sax player myself, I was a bit embarrassed and simultaneously impressed, but with Clinton. Hey, it's okay. We all human. But
Yeah, see, it's all love over here. Even with the channel, which I don't necessarily agree with their perspectives on a lot of stuff. If you guys have not seen it on Franco's show, I kind of had a little back and forth debate with Kamali. I don't agree with Revolutionary Blackout's points a lot of times, but it's still all love. No hate towards anybody over there.
yeah, so Marcus, at that time, I hated any owners. I was telling my friend at work in that Publix, like, yo, you're being enslaved. The owners, I hated owners. I still do. But I don't hate. It's just more of I understand what it is, so I don't get down with you thing. Like, that's how much I changed in 4 months, man. Like, I wasn't even at this point. And I think from 17 to 18 in that window from COVID to now, my opinions just changed so quickly. And most people, it takes years. But because I've been paying attention since like 13, 14, I was able to notice patterns, and it was being pointed out to me way before. Like you said, political family. My grandfather used to watch Hardball with Chris Matthews, CNN, NBC, or MSNBC. I used to watch.
That was the first right-left show.
I watched all of it.
The first right-left show was Hannity and Combs.
Oh, you're right.
I never fully
My dad
understood
watched that.
what was going on, but I knew it was BS because they used to curse at the TV. So fast forward to that. So my next point, when you said being screwed off, I worked for a marketing company. I know it's getting a little off topic. I'll jump back. But the owner, a 34-year-old man, I worked for, guys ever heard of Credico?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked for them for one of their outsourced marketing companies through the management training program. They tell you can be your own boss, but really what you aspire to become is a hiring manager. And they promise all this vast wealth, but really they put you once you get through all the bullshit and hell and high water they put you through, you get placed in a random location, and you get lucky if the team that you built in that office will follow you to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to start selling whatever random products.
Well, I'm gonna roll through.
And the only way you're able to do it is if you get commission off other people, but they don't explain it like that.
Multi-level marketing,
Make your own hours. So my friend got into it. My friend got into it, and we were allegedly selling the phones deactivated on street corners across Tampa, allegedly. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know who that was. I had it. I don't know. I don't know who did it. So I started doing it literally the day I got out of high school. My last day was May 18th. We had a school field trip to the beach, Siesta Key, and that was our last day. The day right after I started, and it was all good. I was making $800, $900,000 in a week. I was really on the ball, but I was trying to prove something. And for 17, 800, 900 in a week, taxes, I didn't even care.
Especially in Florida.
Man, Marcus, I didn't care that he filed us as 1099 as independent contractors so we could get $200+ taken out of our taxes. I was making that, and I never made that before. I worked $750 as a delivery driver in the summer. The only way I was able to flip money was because I was getting, for delivery, each delivery you got the tip and you got $1 for each delivery. And I would recycle tickets so he would pay me $10 extra more dollars for the receipts. So he was
allegedly.
He was a cocaine head, so he probably didn't even notice. So I say that to say, so China was just in a lockdown a few months ago. So we only got distributed our free phones because I did the Assurance wireless phones. For those of you who don't know, you probably know them as the moniker Obama phones. So we did those, the pitch, free unlimited talk, text, and data, but you have to pay $50 for that phone or you can get the free one. It's not that good. The whole sales pitch out of AI, this, that, and the third. So people were realizing we were scamming them because we weren't allowed to technically sell those phones. But another manager in Credico in the company was saying, yeah, fuck it, we're doing it. So that's their senior advisor. So we were selling the free phones for $40. We only got $20 off commission. Instead of we were in the middle of an audit, so we would lose our job at that point in time if we got caught. But you wouldn't give us $40 towards our check. But really, what made me notice that owners are really shitty and woke me up to a lot of different things is that for disputes on the phones, we use Square, so people could dispute the payments on their cards. What these fuckers would do is, whether they realized they were being scammed or not, they were trying to get a free phone and they would dispute the payments. What this bitch ass dude did, and Adam McSweeney, we know who you are. What he would do is he would take the dispute money out of our checks to pay for the disputed phones. But all you want to tell us all day is how you're buying a new yacht. You just bought your kid all these different things and how we can get there. We doing this stupid fucking program when you're rich off real estate investing and you build properties. All this money he would tell me and my friends, we're 17 and 18 years old. Oh, my friend's coming down and we're buying a house for $800,000. What are you and your friends doing?
Jesus.
F you, we're just getting out of high school and you have connections and you've been through college and different life experiences. So he robbed me for almost $1,000 in dispute money out of my check. Damn. My last check was $700. He took it all to pay for disputes. And it was either that or it gets legal activity. So I had to bite the bullet. And I brought in my friend and had to fire him. He told me, look, sell 3 of the free phones and then give away 3 and your friend will make $100 for the day because it activated a daily rate because it's a $20 commission. So once you sold 3 phones at $60, you got a daily rate of $40 for 3 phones. He ended up telling me, oh, your friend's not going to get paid for this. And I promised my friend he was going to make $500 in a week. That was my sell on my team to grow. I had paid $120 out of my check, out of my own money, to make sure my friend could get $184 just for those 2 days. So once he took the dispute money, I sat back and thought about it months later. I was 18 years old. I still am a kid now. I'm only a month removed from 18. You were robbed, and he did it to a few of my friends who did it. You were robbing 18, 19, and 17. Look, he had my friend working, so we worked 60-hour work weeks at 17. The most this guy wanted to give me was a gas card to drive to Spring Hill, which is a hour drive from here. That was the most he wanted to do. He didn't reimburse other people when they left, when they worked and drove to Orlando. He didn't reimburse anybody for gas. He paid for the Airbnb. You figure it out on your own. You robbed kids. You robbed kids. And that
was a special place in hell.
Like, now that I'm thinking about it, you bragged and threw all that money in your face. You even told my friend who challenged him once, but you don't got $100,000 watch or whatever. But you were robbing kids. Of course, we're impressionable. We're fresh out of high school. That's why your recruitment targets us.
Exactly.
You rob kids. And the same thing with the Army. You are coercing young minds. We are impressionable. You'd say wave around $80,000 a year right out of high school. Who isn't going to take that? Who doesn't want to get out of their parents' wing and get their own house? And you are manipulating these people. And that also woke my mind up too, even though I still can enlist in the Army. But after that, that even drew me farther away from than I already was. The fact that this guy could rob kids.
What you went through is like what I had to learn throughout my 20s working for corporate masters. The fact that you got to learn that lesson at this age is just like, I mean, when we see things that happen to us, we don't understand their meaning sometimes. And I think that that's kind of like divine intervention to say, hey, this is the corporate environment. You just got to experience it, but you don't have to go and deal with some of the shit that I had to deal with. Because I wouldn't wish that on my enemies. Like you talk about people trying to blackmail each other and shit.
Look, you see gas prices are way up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would have to drive. The office was maybe 10 minutes from my house. I didn't use much gas. But I also shared the car with my mom. So as we went out, I would have to drive to Ocala. And he used to just talk all this motivational bullshit to get us to sell. We would leave the office at 10:30, stop to get food, drive to Ocala, and I had to get back by 5:30 so my mom could get to work.
Yo,
and he would
the trades are the same fucking way, Holmes. One of the companies that I fucking worked for, they would cut my fucking timesheet every fucking week. So I could work like 40, 41, 42, 43, 44 hours. And we were all clocking in with BAS, right? It's like a fucking magnetic fucking piece of whatever the fuck that it fucking registers a
they
fucking
turn the cards off on us.
Yeah. So, but every fucking week I would get paid 39.3 hours or whatever the fuck it was. And then I started looking at the timesheet. And yeah, exactly. And I would be looking at the timesheets and it would say shop altered time on certain fucking things that would clock me out early. Right? Like this is the fucking way that fucking business goes.
He bought us a box of the mini creamers and said you can get one creamer per cup of coffee.
Get la.
Like
fucking
he's always bragging about all this money. You know, we were for look. I would work 60-hour work weeks and it was commission based. I was great at selling, but there would be people who would come in with children and it was, oh, you just suck. You don't have what it takes. No. There's days in sales, you know that you're going to have really good days and really shitty days. Mm-hmm. And yet you're telling people, oh, reteach the system. But not only that, it's just the fact that you brag about all this money, but you are robbing kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
that person's got to live with that.
That's how he makes fucking money, though, yo. That's how they make fucking money.
He would tell us, oh, I don't need the $250,000 a year I get from this. So you're just throwing it in our faces, chump change, but it hanging up, oh, this is our dream of financial freedom. Little do they tell you they're going to put you in the office, and if you have nobody to go with you, their promise is you're not going to be, oh, thank you, independent. Yep, I hate sales. I will never go back. So
sales is the goddamn devil.
And it was multi-level marketing. We were an outsourced company, and I went to all the workshops. I went to business meetings. I went to conferences and let these stuffy dudes in suits say how they're so much better than us and all these different things and how you have to just stay focused in the system and all this other stuff. It's really a cult. People like
it is. It is a cult.
Look, it's a cult. I would be outside in the middle of the hood in Tampa. For those of you who haven't been there, it gets real grimy. People get drove up on and shot up in these areas for 8 hours, and he's micromanaging, texting us at 1. Why didn't you have any phones sold? And yeah, I would get as many sold as I need, and we had to be out till 6. And one day he told me I didn't drive. Remember, I told you guys I shared the car with my mom. At this point in time, I did not have the car. I had the Uber. Once I sold my phones, my AM, who was above me, my team lead, she was like, "You can just go home. It's fine. You don't have to go back to the office." I was like, "Okay." So I went home. I went to go chill with my girlfriend. This guy texts me at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Are you going? He texts my friend who's my best friend, who I was working with, and he was my team lead because I came in under him. It was so your guy's just not gonna go back out there. He's a corporate trainer. You gonna pay for my Uber to sit out there from 8:30 to maybe 10:30 and not sell anything? And he hired my other friend who was 17 years old and would bitch at him if he didn't sell, and he needs to go back out, but then be mad if he didn't sell. First of all, I could report you, but I'm not going to do that to my friends who work there, and still that's what they believe in. You know, that it sucks that that's what they're still following into, but I'm not going to ruin it for them.
Yeah.
They have to find out their way.
But and you're right. They have to find out for themselves because they won't believe you.
I'm telling you, I used to interview people, and it's sad. I had to tell people 31 years old they couldn't cut it. I had to fire them. I hate firing people. When I first had to do it, it was miserable. This guy would take people on my team, and maybe I would think I have enough to reel them in. I just need to bring. He would say, you need to prioritize. You guys aren't hanging out with them enough. Like, I used to leave my wife to go hang out with my people, and I'm like, bro, I'm 19 years old. And he'd be like, well, this is a grown man's job. This is your way to freedom. And I'm like, you're telling me that, but if I could do this at someone else's office. But just had to tie that in. But I see we're running a little bit long. You know, I could go on with this. I can go on with this for forever, but
I mean, I'm just glad you got to see that when you did, man. Like, it took me my 20s of working for other people and being told that I wasn't worth anything. And then once I was told I wasn't worth anything, I really started meditating on it. And I was like, wait a minute. I never checked to see what I was actually worth. And with my college and all that shit, I was worth probably double and ended up going out and making double. I noticed when I started not blaming other people, especially for my recovery, my life got a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
They will never pay you what you're worth, because if they paid you what you're worth, they wouldn't make any money off your assholes.
Exactly.
That's the way it works.
And when they tell you if you're hourly and they want to switch you to salary, you say hell no.
Fuck no.
Yeah, never take salary. Never take salary, because then they're going to use and abuse you.
Handcuffs on you.
Marcus, check your phone.
Just like also in the military. Oh, I can't. I'm live right now.
Okay, got you.
Oh, not much. I got some laundry and stuff I got to finish up, and then got to be up early. So,
Same.
but yeah, we're getting ready to wrap it up. I still haven't ate dinner yet, so I still got to eat dinner. But man, I think everybody who hopped in here definitely, feel the love. And I wanted to address something that somebody said to me real quick, because this has been sitting in the back of my head since the live stream when I saw it. They were like, well, I said that I don't do this for money. They said, well, if you were making money, you would be doing it for money. No, I have a Patreon that I could set up. I have a password for all that. I don't use it. I have Cash App. I could be using that. I don't. No, I'm not saying that I won't ever do that. But if my goal was to do this to make money, I would be trying to make money. I genuinely enjoy, the conversation and trying to give people information. And that's my whole point in what I do here, So I would want to say that and clarify. I was wondering, Jack, Shadow, you guys got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Couple of things. Go ahead, Jack. You first.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say to everyone, really, it comes down to I think the good lesson that I learned was, especially just going through the recovery process, find people with different life experiences from you and who think different from you, because that's how you can not only challenge yourself, but really get to hear other perspectives and realize how much you have in common is usually always more than what you think you have apart from any other person. Because when you take things down to their basic level, we all want the same. I mean, there's sadists out there and there's sick people, but we got to understand that whatever they do, that shit comes back on them, man. Mm-hmm. I know it's gotta. I've seen it happen before too. So, I mean, that's all I'll say is just surround yourself by people who appreciate you and show caring and kindness.
Yep. I mean, I truly believe I've had these, what people don't realize is these three gentlemen here, I talk to them off camera also. We have plenty of conversations and talk about a lot of stuff. Me and Jalen have been on the phone for 4 hours, 5 hours,
4 hours.
Talking about stuff. So you guys are just getting a glimpse of some of the stuff that we talk about and what's on our mind. And I look at it when I say like we're all we got, I really do mean we're all we got. And when shit really hits the fan, we're gonna have to depend on each other, in different ways. So that's why I do what I do, and that's why I enjoy this so much. So just
I
wanted to
feel the
say
same way.
that. Mm-hmm.
And also, it gives us an opportunity to just vent. Going through this life stuff. I mean, you guys are vastly ahead of me in experience, but even just like I was telling you, the little stories of things I've been to in my short life, it's just this shit sucks. It does suck.
Yeah.
Sometimes this is not cable. We have to pay. It's a choice. Yep, exactly. Screw the haters. The internet. I call them the internet ops. The internet ops. But
I'd say that's one of the fucking biggest problems in this fucking.
But yeah, we get all talk.
If something becomes lucrative, like organically, and people are actually interested in what you have to say, then that's right on, man. But I see too many fucking people that create the content that they think people want to see so they can make the fucking money.
Exactly.
Right.
Instead of
and it takes the fucking soul out of it, yo. Like, if we had like this idea of, okay, so people want to hear this, and this, these platitudes and these cliches, and we fucking formulate a fucking show around that, and we just copy a fucking existing business model, then what does that make us? And not only does it make us fucking biters, but it makes us fake. Yeah, hypocrites and fake. Because that's exactly what fucking mainstream news does. That's what the pop culture fucking aspect of everything is, right? So why the fuck would we why would we copy a fucking business model? Like, why would we have a fucking situation in which we bitch about other people that are bitching about other people that are bitching about other people that are bitching about other people? Because if you take out and you remove some of that bitching about other people, then you're just bitching about other people, which is what you set out to fucking be against. So yeah, man, like if I had any advice for anyone, or if I wanted to say anything in closing remarks, it's that create. Don't fucking ride. Create. Don't fucking copy shit. Don't ride nobody's fucking dick. Don't take something that already exists and fucking put your spin on it and fucking and like say that you're doing something original and try to fucking make cash off of it, man. Like,
it's
create something.
My father always said since I was a little boy, 3 years old, be a leader, never follow. If I catch you following, I'll embarrass you in front of everybody.
Yes, good advice.
Your fucking pop is a hell of a man.
And that always stuck with me.
Yeah.
That's why he's my boy. That's my ace right there.
My grandfather.
Lead by example. Never fucking, because to bring it back to the Tao and spirituality, those who talk don't know, and those who know don't talk.
Do not talk.
What do you think? We're gonna probably maybe on a Sunday, we're gonna pull one of those like Lucky did. I know Jalen has the juice in him. You see that comment? I did an 8-hour stream yesterday. Got caught in the conversation. Time flies when you're connected on a deeper level. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Yes, indeedy. And I mean, sometimes me and Jack will go for fucking hours just fucking.
Oh yeah.
Like on our
plug your article.
Yeah, thank you. I am in the process of finishing up my organized labor article. The weird brain fog that comes with COVID has kind of like not allowed me to write as much as I would like to with my couple of weeks off that I've had. But nonetheless, I will be finishing up that article before too long. Thank you, Glory Jones, for plugging that my environmental article.
Yeah, go read the first one. It's a multi-part series too. It's an amazing article, and really you need to see the maps for yourself to really see what's going on and have the context that's put into those articles to really see what's going on with the Fourth Industrial Revolution all over the United States and how this shit is way too coordinated. And if it wasn't for the deep knowledge that Polly has on this, that article wouldn't have been possible. So I can't say it enough. You guys go read that article. Make sure you're caught up so that you can see what's going on. It's very revealing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean when I say create, right?
Exactly.
Because like I could have copied the fucking business model of other fucking streamers and been like, okay, we're gonna bitch about this, and we're gonna bitch about this person, and this about this person, and that person, and this person, and that person, and meanwhile, they're just bitching about other people that are 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 bitching about other people that in a fucking infinitum fucking cycle, right? But it's not productive. All you're doing is fucking surrendering to a fucking lower vibrational current.
100%. And the way that I visualize that is I picture people in a room all yelling at each other's backs because that's all they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
to close
in a big circle.
To close this out, I want to give this last closing statement.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to do a couple plugs first.
Okay, so then this won't be the closing statement. I'll just say this. This is
You can. All right, I will give my last couple of plugs, and then you can go ahead and close it out. There, young sir.
Okay,
Want everybody to know that I will be on Savvy Sav's channel, Sabrina Salvetti. For those who are not familiar, she's part of Revolutionary Blackouts. I'll be on there Friday, and then Saturday morning I will be turning right back around, and I'll be on Blue Moon Red Wine. I will be moderating part of her marathon panel, and then for that night, Political Matrix, we will be talking Ghislaine Maxwell. So make sure to tune in and catch that. And then our next show, next Wednesday, next week, we will have Franco from Frank Analysis will be joining us. So make sure to catch all of that.
Nice.
Yes, Franco will be joining us.
Oh, perfect.
I love you, Franco.
I don't know if you're watching, but Franco, I told Marcus I was vouching for you. I went and watched you guys show on Rockfin last Friday. I definitely was telling him I was advocating. I wanted you on the show too.
Awesome.
Good night, Steve.
So going ahead, it's all yours now, young fella.
So the closing statements I like to say for all of you is we're all slaves in this trapment, but doesn't mean I have to be a dead brain slave. Doesn't mean I can't resist it. And that's exactly why we do these shows weekly. But I just want to say thank you to Jack for joining us, ShadowBanned you as well. I'm sure we have to run it back with one of these shows. We had some good chemistry. Honestly, we could have went for 6 hours if we didn't have to go to work.
For sure.
And Marcus, as you know, our gracious Marcus Rage host. I'm Jalen, your co-host, and I want to say thank you. This is Talk of the Ages, and good night, everyone.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night, guys. Thank you, man.